Hello, everyone. Welcome to Christian Hangout number 24. We are live. Returning, we have ARBOGAST and as many permutations of his name joining us for the third time. We have Mark CITADEL, and we have two newcomers so far. We have Northern Irish All-Star and ROOSTERGOD. Welcome, guys. So why don't we have you guys introduce yourselves? Northern Irish All-Star, would you like to start by introducing yourself, telling us your background?
No problem, mate. Basically, I'm just sort of like an alt-right sort of guy, like a Christian conservative, basically from Northern Ireland. I've spent quite a few years, basically, confronting communism and just generally trying to improve the peace situation in Northern Ireland, because communism plays a big part in it. All these things that you guys are experiencing now, atheism, communism, blah, 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 all the rest of it is all confronting us here in Northern Ireland, just the same as it's confronting you guys. And we're just going through the same motions. And basically, I'm just here to chat with you on the same issues that we're facing, you're facing, all the rest of it,
Okay. And you said you're Presbyterian?
Yeah, that would be the gist of it, really, yeah, basically, yeah. Conservative, okay. Sort of Presbyterian, yeah.
All right. And also we have ROOSTERGOD. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us about your background, ROOSTERGOD?
Hey, I don't really do much. I'm trying to get into this stuff. I'm writing an article for, I don't remember the website. It's net. But this is like the second YouTube hangout I've ever been on. First Reactionary hangout, or Christian hangout.
Yeah, and what's your background as a Christian?
Orthodox Church of America.
Oh, okay, cool. So, were you raised Orthodox, or did you convert?
I converted very recently, actually.
Oh, wow, cool. Well, it's good to have you guys with us. So, yeah, we were talking earlier before we started about some interesting subjects, but we thought we should save them for the live portion with Northern Irish All-Star. You talked a little bit about how there's a lot of leftism in the church, and you're facing things like that.
Yeah. Well, in Northern Ireland, we've got a bit of a complicated situation. I think it's like it's almost like a petri dish for radical politics, because of the extreme situation that we've had and fostered over the last 30 years. I mean, it's been said many times that foreign governments have used Northern Ireland as a training ground for, controlling populations of the future, and I think that's basically very evident now in the politics that we're seeing in Northern Ireland, we're seeing a lot of manipulation, press manipulation. We're seeing vast populations turning away from Christianity and moving into atheism, communism. We're seeing, for example, a big decline in Catholic Church attendance and Protestant church attendance and all that sort of thing, Basically, it's hard to go into it because it's so massive. Like, it's such a massive situation, like,
And how recent is this phenomenon of decline? Like, did it all happen suddenly, or has it been gradual?
Well, what it is, it's something that it's sort of festered, I mean, in Ireland on the whole, I mean, you've seen with the gay marriage vote and in Ireland. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
That was only in the Republic of Ireland, right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But the thing is, Ireland's, unfortunately, what happens in the Republic, it affects us as well, So,
yeah, because I'm sure there are people with different parts of their families on either side of the border, right?
Well, that's right, And, there's been like it's this, this paedophile priest scandal sort of stuff,
Yeah,
and there was the Catholic Church had it owned a lot of land, and it was maybe over abusing its kind of like financial powers and stuff, So it's kind of people have rebelled against that by following SJW sort of stuff, basically, and the universities have been took over, like University College Dublin you know, Queen's University are just SJW universities now, really.
Yeah, but
you know.
believe us, we never really owned the universities. They've always owned them. It's just this is the latest iteration of left-wing craziness. It purges the previous generation of leftists. Is all that happens.
Yeah.
Was it Northern
Can't answer.
Ireland where they had the priest do a reading from the Quran that denied the divinity of Christ?
No, that was in England and Scotland. England and Scotland. There's two places simultaneously.
Wow.
Yeah, fucking abysmal, literally. But you know.
Yeah, that is bad. Like, you know, we should say a prayer later on, hopefully, and get into that. You know, whoever's heart has done that, like, because that's a sin. That is, like,
that's awful. It's worse. I mean, I consider it a treasonous act. Really, it's.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, is the added dimension that the Church of England is still, correct me if I'm wrong, it's essentially part of the government.
Yeah. I don't mean treason in the legal sense. I mean it has a further ethnic component to it in that it's obviously there's an ethnic connection to the religious, you know, these religious acts of I don't know what you'd even call it.
Blasphemy.
Appeasement, I guess, is the best I can probably think of. Yeah, I mean, it mirrors what's going on elsewhere as well. Yeah. We've had these similar things going on in the Nordic countries for a while now. It's
well, the Vatican's actually done it itself, right at the heart of the very Vatican.
Yeah.
They've done it.
Yeah.
That prompted my open letter to Pope Francis, which I wrote on the Autosphere some time ago, was the washing of the feet of the economic migrants. You know, it's beyond help, and I think that the most recent actions by the Pope only cement that. His recent Anschluss of the Knights of Malta, which is completely unprecedented and what I consider a gross act by the Pope to basically, without any authority to do so, really, has stripped that order of its political independence.
The Knights of Malta weren't much better, or didn't he annex them because they were funding abortion in Thailand or somewhere?
Well, there was, from what I read of it, let me think about this. From what I read, there had been problems with a superior in the order, and this particular superior seemed to have connections with Pope Francis, and he was removed by the order itself, but then he kind of circulated his story around the Vatican, and then eventually the Pope, just recently with his annexation, forced the current superior out. So essentially, you know, if you break it down, I mean, the Pope essentially annexed the sovereign state and forcibly removed its head.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. But this is just, I mean, he is an anti-traditional figure. He is against the traditions of the church very clearly. You can tell that from the favor he shows towards sort of radical cardinals like Cardinal Casper of Germany, and the disdain with which he treats the traditionalists in the church. It's a very dark time, really, for Roman Catholics, of course. I mean, we kind of exist outside that in the Orthodox world, but it certainly has greater symbolic value for Europe.
Well, what I think actually is that it's actually a good opportunity for a connection between Protestants and Catholics, because what I always like to see in Northern Ireland is of opportunity, because what this Pope has done is that he has created a division between himself and the church, you know, and I think a lot of the values that Protestants hold, a lot of Catholics hold, you know, but this guy, like you say, he's more of like a communist. You know, he's more like he's got communist values, you know.
I describe him probably as a Peronist. He's very much influenced by the Argentinian background, which of course, that's one of the reasons he's completely inappropriate for the seat of the Vatican. But then, you know, you get into the issue of, is the Vatican an appropriate seat given that? Because, you know, it can be occupied by somebody outside of the European context, and then you've got a foreign foreign born and foreign raised and foreign inculcated individual basically mediating the spiritual health of Europeans, which I think is almost bad enough when you've got ethnic differences between various European peoples, but Argentines, that's an even bigger jump. It's not huge. It's not as if the Pope was I don't know, an Abbo or something, but it's they have a very different culture, very different set of values, really.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Wait, what?
Carry on, sir. Carry on.
Oh, sorry, carry on. No, I was just going to say that if you look back in the old days, I mean, the Bishop of Rome was essentially elected by the city itself, and that was way before you had this idea of this sort of a universal primacy. But even up until the election of John Paul II, it was an Italian, and that made sense in the context of it being in Rome, the capital city, but also in a cultural context too.
Mm. A point I'd like to make is that the Catholic Church is a supernatural entity, and I think that, like any kind of government, things have to be divided, just to ensure, fealty or whatever. And again, because the Catholic Church is interested, has so much land property and all this, it's kind of like, it's almost like the EU in my perspective. It has this supernatural interest, and it enforces this supernatural interest very. I mean, if you look at Trump's election, it was Cardinal Dolan, it was Cardinal Dolan this, Cardinal Dolan that. You know what I mean? And forcing their interests behind the scenes in a way that I suppose would probably surprise a lot of people on this podcast, I'm sure.
No, not really. I mean, I know that there is a Catholic influence around the world, wherever there are significant Catholic populations. Obviously, I'm not opposed to that, really. But I mean, my opposition to it would come in the form that it's completely it's done in that kind of secret, backhanded way. It's about, yes, that it's true that there are connections, probably monetarily, between the Catholic Church in the United States and various politicians in the United States, some of them quite unsavory politicians, let's be honest, on the left. But I mean, it's officially the United States has a separation of church and state. So I'd rather that the joining of religion and state be formal than be this kind of backhanded type of thing, because it's just an insult to religion. It's an insult to the state as well. There's typically why I favor the more orthodox model, which integrates the role of the religion into essentially a state function, not to the extent of it as it's sometimes been done in Russia, but you are seeing slowly in Russia at least a greater assertion of the church, particularly in the latest laws that are being drafted, and that is working well to kind of push the liberal influence out of Russia and ensure that it can't sort of get its claws in.
Yeah.
Hey, Irish All-Star, quick question. You said that during the Trump campaign he kept talking about Cardinal Dolan. What are you referring to exactly?
Well, I'm referring to basically Cardinal Dolan. He was omnipresent, really, in the certainly the last days of the Trump campaign. He was just everywhere, and he was at the inauguration as well, which is fair enough, But I'm just saying that obviously this person is a person of incredible influence, and so should he be. So should he be because of the.
I don't know how. I don't know if I'd call his influence incredible. If the influence of Catholics in America was incredible, then they wouldn't have abortions in America.
Yeah,
it's not the same influence in the Catholic Church, say, has in Ecuador, for example. It's I'd say in America it's probably more on par with somewhere like England, really, in a way. I mean,
yeah, but sure. I mean, I'm anti-abortion. I'm actually a big supporter of anti-abortion. Of pro-life Ireland, a big supporter of pro-life Ireland. Everybody get liking pro-life Ireland because they're brilliant, as well. But yeah, I'm not slating Dolan. Like, I'm just saying he's obviously a guy that's up there. Like,
Oh, believe it. He deserves to be slated on many issues. On many issues, he deserves to be slated. He's not an ardent traditionalist. He's somebody who is at the best indifferent towards the divide between the liberals who are attempting to completely destroy the Catholic Church and the traditionalists who are trying to sort of uphold any semblance of precedent. So yes, slight him all you like. He's not, I'd never defend Cardinal Dolan as in his person and in his sort of what he's done in that role.
Sorry, mate, are you Catholic yourself, man, or what? Like,
no, I'm Orthodox.
Oh, Orthodox, right.
But I lived in America for quite a little bit of a period, so I understand politics there quite. And yeah, I know what you mean about the constant sort of appeals to the Catholic vote and all sorts. I've watched those dinners that they have with Cardinal Dolan sitting with Hillary Clinton on one side and Donald Trump on the other. And,
I mean, what I don't want to do is come across as a sectarian person. I'm like just a supporter of Northern Irish people altogether. I just want to. Yeah. You know what I mean? I generally, I'm 100% non-sectarian. Like, you know what I mean? Totally.
In the text chat, we have a message from Atlas. He says that in New York, Dolan really doesn't have any influence, and he says he's from New York.
Dolan is I think he's the major Archbishop of New York. He's also head of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops.
Yeah, that's it.
He's essentially the primate of America in the Catholic world.
Yeah, and he does an abysmal job at it.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely. I mean, he's horrible. I mean, there were scandals with him going back to I think when he was in Milwaukee. I mean, he's not a French traditionalist. At best, you can hope that he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
It is interesting how in the old days, the Catholic Church really did have larger influence. Like I remember watching on YouTube an old newsreel from the 40s, and there was some Catholic Church member, I think, who had died, and there was like a huge funeral for him in New York City. And Catholics have been the one largest denomination of Christians in America since the 1840s. I mean, they're surrounded by Protestants, but if you take all the Protestants as separate denominations, Catholics are the largest. And the relationship between the Vatican and the United States has kind of been a bit of a give or take. That's really why you saw more liberalism at Vatican II, was because of the influence of the American prelates. And the fact, too, the Americans had money, and the Vatican needed the money. So.
Well, I mean, when did Vatican II take place?
62 to 65.
Yeah, but I mean, it probably helped Vatican II that the countries sort of most likely to be traditionalists and conservative were at that time under the Iron Curtain. So
absolutely.
It was a little easier to shove things through when you didn't have necessarily so many Poles and Slovaks and Croatians there.
Well, people have stipulated that's why Pope John the 23rd was elected, is because of the influence of essentially the Soviet Union in terms of pressuring. I mean, this is getting into kind of conspiratorial stuff where people elect that there was people, have this theory where there's this other Italian cardinal chosen, really getting some nutty stuff. But I mean, certainly it would not be out of the realm of possibility for the Soviet Union to have exerted some sort of influence on the conclave.
Yeah.
Do you know that I thought John Paul II, to be honest, might have actually been ordained, or at least had a mission from God, just to help people, because the guy was he was a very respectable pope, in terms of helping people,
I mean, he was a respectable person, I think, but if you look at just the absolute decline of the Catholic Church from 1978 to 2004, I mean, he essentially. Well, anyone
that wasn't anything to do with him. At the end of the day, the church has been attacked, probably by some sort of demonic force.
The church has been in decline for a little while. Before, I think in the same ways, it mirrors quite a bit the Anglican Church in its pattern of decline, which probably really begins to pick up after World War One. That's when church attendance really ceases to have any real spiritual significance, and people begin to only do it to keep up appearances, which is the same reason that still people go and baptize their children. They do a christening, don't they? But they don't really do anything else. and then that takes time to fade off. And we're now at the moment where you no longer have to really go to church to keep up appearances, of course, so nobody goes because nobody believes in it.
I know that in Charles Murray's book, Coming Apart, where he compared white America, like the white working class in 1960 to the white working class of 2010, he shows how in this one Philadelphia neighborhood, which was like pure white working class, Fishtown, maybe you know about this, but he talked about how the Catholic Church used to be sort of a pillar of the community there, but now it's like the priest can barely get anybody to attend. Just that's like one noticeable sign of decline in that 50-year period.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, the church has been eviscerated from without, but it's also decayed from within. It's been allowed to rot from within by elements within it who have attacked the initiatic character that the church used to have. And this is precisely the reason why you had the SSPX break off, because they saw very clearly what was going on inside the church. And, that's, like I said, that's been in motion since
Mark,
the turn of the last century.
Can I speak to you about the English, the Church of England?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I lived over in England there for a while, and one experience I had was I'd actually supposed to be getting married in the Church of England, so I joined the church. I'd paid all the money, I'd done all the what you need to do, and I'd supposed to be having my bands read out and all that in the church, I paid everything, but what happened was that I had like a breakup or whatever, so whatnot, like. But what I noticed anyway was that there was a Masonic element to the church. There was the church had like a Masonic emblem on the side of it and stuff and whatnot, like. And also like later on, this is something like happened after my breakup. Not worried about it, like. I was like opposing grooming gangs and stuff, like all this Muslim grooming gangs, all this shit, like.
Yeah, we know. Yep.
And basically, every time I would go to one of these protests, there'd be opposing the protest would be a Church of England, the local bishop or the local priest or whatever would be standing on the stage with, Unite Against Fascism, these communist guys, Yeah, and I just can't. What I couldn't understand, mate, and it was something that I've really pulled my brains at, like, trying to understand it. Why don't they try to help their own people in their own community? It's something that really it hurts me,
It's easy to understand.
It.
It's easy to understand. They're apostates. It's that simple. They are no longer Christians. They cease being Christians. For them to support groups that openly really are, I mean, when you talk about UAF and these groups, these are open defenders of people who rape children. And at that point, they have completely apostatized. They do not serve Christ. They serve the religion of liberalism. One of the key things to waking up to the world in which we live in today is to understand that liberalism itself is a competing theology. It operates in the same way. It has an occult motivator behind it. And there are many people who masquerade as Christians, masquerade as priests, and put on all of the costume, etc. But they are not. They are actually servants of this ulterior religion, which has slowly begun to supplant Christianity in the West, deliberately to replace it and replace the entire value system, which is why the morals have shifted underneath us. This has been a secret mass conversion across Europe, which has gone completely unnoticed by all but the learned scholars, which really have informed the reactionary school of thought, which is really the sort of the intellectual vanguard behind the alt-right, I'd say. And you can't see these people as Christians anymore. Just because somebody pretends to be a priest, they have a qualification as a priest, I don't care what church they're from. I would say this the same thing, by the way, exactly the same about an Orthodox priest, quote unquote. It is clear that they put liberalism before Christianity, and Christianity is not only defined by the doctrine of the Bible, at least that we believe in our tradition, but is also defined by the holy tradition of the church and its history. If they deviate from this, they have covertly apostatized from the church, and they've apostatized to liberalism, and that needs to be called out because it's a heresy. And as far as I've been extremely full frontal about this, that those people are then defined as exactly our enemies in worse ways, in fact, than the grooming gangs themselves are. Because the grooming gangs are like a wild dog; they're just a symptom. These people are actually, in a very sinister way, deliberately unleashing that dog upon Europe, and they have to be opposed, and they have to be opposed in a radical fashion by real Christians.
Well, I mean, I've been around England opposing them in a radical fashion, and to be honest, they haven't. Their guile is incredible, you know, and but again, because they're sort of public. I think they must be publicly funded. There must be something funding them.
The Church of England does receive some. I don't know if it comes through the royal family or not, but it's some kind of, they're tied into the public institution, obviously.
But then again, as well, there's like an old. But the thing is, what I don't want to get into is criticizing English people, because God bless them, they're under so much attack, you know, and even if they fall, you know, you don't want to just criticize them, because God bless them.
You don't want to just criticize people, but you can't. I've talked about a lot of this with Adam Wallace, who I do the Plebeian podcast a lot for a little while now with. There is a tendency, certainly among these circles, to externalize all blame onto external actors and to say it's the fault of some group of evil people who are doing this to us. True, there are evil groups of people doing evil things to us, but these things would not be happening if we had a strong inner constitution and sense of ourselves. If we actually sort of recognize who we were and were willing to sort of stand up for ourselves collectively. And I'm not talking on an individual basis, because every person is different and has a different situation, obviously. But the collective soul of Western Europe has died out because we have let it die out. And you know, obviously America's a little bit of a different situation, a whole different kettle of fish over there. But Europe, we had a functioning traditional society, an initiatic system, and effectively a caste system. And we allow it to completely regress and break down to the situation we have today. We have allowed this to happen to ourselves, and only we are going to get out. Constantly pointing out the enemy is not actually going to allow us to defeat the enemy. There's Codreanu in Romania who said, concerning the Jews of his time, and back then the Jews were the major sort of element of liberalism in Romania. He said Jews are like mosquitoes. They can only just like they can only thrive in swamps. The Jews can only thrive in the swamps of our sins. And he made the point that basically the other people who were just whining about the Jews all day and saying, oh, the Jews are oppressing us, the Jews are doing bad things to us. He said the fact that we're allowing to do them is an indictment upon ourselves, that we have become poisoned, we have become corrupted, and we have sort of embrace this state of sin in the entire nation, and we're being punished for that.
I mean, that's a good point. But one thing we don't want to, as Christians, we don't want to do is start pointing out people saying Jews and saying, well, it's the Jews doing this. There are Jews that are doing bad things, you know, but we don't want to generalize terms.
A huge number.
Here, like, you know.
But it's not.
I get
some
what
people
you're
are exaggerating it. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
you've seen it. I've seen these people who are very obsessed with the JQ, as we call it, and it's it's an element. You can't dismiss it because it's real, but it
exactly. You can't.
You're not Christian.
You have to be practical about it. There's a certain way to go about it, like, you know. But there's obviously a problem with certain. There's a strategy being used on Christians by people of Jewish whatever origin.
You can't ignore that, like. Yeah, and that's an element, but it's only one element of many. That's the thing. Some people totalize it and think that's the only thing, whereas it's actually a smorgasbord of things. Yeah.
On the subject of the Church of England, is it still a law that the Prime Minister has to be a member of the Church of England? Because I remember reading that Tony Blair wanted to convert to Catholicism while he was in office, but he couldn't because he was legally required to be a Church of England member.
I think it's still a law, but it would never be enforced. So,
but didn't they enforce it against Tony Blair? Or
I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, he was an atheist, so I don't.
He became a papist later after leaving
Yeah, maybe after leaving. David Cameron was an atheist. Theresa May's an atheist. It's, they're all atheists, really. They have been for a while.
They openly say they're atheists, or
They don't openly say they're atheists, but a hell of a lot of people don't say they're openly atheists, and they are atheists. It's,
yeah.
You don't need to be Kim
Church of
Jong-un.
England atheists.
Say, what was that?
What was that?
They're just Church of England atheists.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that defines a lot of them at the moment. I mean, the most believing members of the Anglican community all exist outside England. So
I remember John Derbyshire talked about when he sort of renounced his Anglicanism. He said that when he told that to a friend of his, he said, the friend said, "That's like falling out of a first-story window."
yeah, it's not. Well, you can't. I mean, you can't fall a long way from where it is now. It's just, it's a vestigial organ. It's something it has no relevance in English society anymore, really. It's sort of clinging on and demanding its continued place in the House of Lords and everything. But what good has it ever done in the House of Lords?
Well, actually, mate, I would say here it's in actual the Church of England, and what I don't want to do is come out against, because I know so many good people working within the Church of England doing so many good things, but the Church of England itself, it's certainly at the higher levels operates as like. Just an incredibly degenerative force on our society, Yeah. But at the lower levels, and I mean, even as soon as you scratch the surface of the Church of England, it's beautiful, and it's full of so many beautiful, wonderful people. They're doing so many beautiful and wonderful things, but the top surface of it and the very high levels of it is just a rancid, degeneracy, like,
But can you name a single major institution in the country that isn't that way? The media, the education establishment, the political establishment, it's everything. This is what I don't really get about people who consistently sort of say, oh, the church is the main problem. It's really and you get the sometimes argument from like neo-pagans and things like, oh, it's really the church is what we need to go after because the church is really promoting this. It's every institution. There is not a single traditional institution. They are all overrun and controlled by liberals. So it's not just like that. And the church is a relatively minor one because it has such little impact on the lives of most people. I'd say the educational establishment is the largest behemoth in British society for indoctrinating.
Common purpose.
Yeah, well, I mean, they all believe in the same religion. Like I said, liberalism is their religion, and they have as much fanaticism towards it as any of the people who shot up the Bataclan or ran that truck into those people in Nice.
Well, that's it. Guys like me and you, are just evil people who should be wiped out. Really,
Well, I think don't we have an Anglican with us now?
Oh
Yeah, LUE-YEE.
LUE-YEE's an Anglican, but he's like an Asian Anglican. Chinglican, yeah.
Leland Scott might be joining us at some point, but he's also Anglican.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, several Anglican.
Or he's a Anglo-Catholic or something. Anyway, go on. I thought you were
I don't know how anybody can follow that sort of.
I was just pointing out that we had some who belonged at least to some degree to the Anglican tradition. I don't know. What's your thoughts on all this, Lee?
Sorry?
What's your thoughts on what we were just talking about?
Well, seeing as I'm not part of the Church of England, since I live in America and I attend a Reformed Episcopal Church in North Carolina, it's hard for me to say much about the state of England.
That's fair enough, yeah. I didn't realize that.
After all, the Archbishop of Canterbury also has no jurisdiction in America.
Thank God for that.
Yes.
That's true, like.
Wouldn't do him any good. Anglican is just as bad.
Hey, LUE-YEE, I know that I remember one time on the Daily Show they were talking about, Mike Enoch has talked about how his family is Episcopal or Episcopalian or whatever the proper term is, and I remember one time he said nobody in the Episcopal Church actually believes in God. Do you think that's true?
Nobody in what church?
The Episcopal Church.
I think that's not true. So, for example, if you go down to Savannah, Georgia, St. John's Episcopal Church is pretty orthodox. It also uses still the 1928 Book of Common Prayer, so it hasn't adopted the 1979 one. And there are other parishes around the country. I think Detroit also has it's a St. John's or St. something. That's more an Anglo-Catholic place, but I would say, you know, with regard to essentials at least, it's still Orthodox. Those are just some bigger examples. I'm sure there are smaller churches throughout the country.
Yeah. I do remember watching a YouTube video that this woman made where she was talking about her decision to convert to Orthodoxy. And she said she came from the Episcopal Church, and she realized that the reason she chose Orthodoxy is because she realized that the Episcopal Church is so lukewarm that she was like, am I essentially just an agnostic here who's doing this for, I don't know, networking purposes, or am I doing this because I actually believe in it? So she wanted to make a choice as a Christian, whether she was just being culturally Christian or like truly a true believer.
I think that was what my father was faced with when he first came to the States from Hong Kong. He'd been baptized, I think, in high school, having converted then in the Anglican Church. So, you know, by the time he came to America, he knew the at least some basic parts of the Book of Common Prayer in Chinese. But when he came to America and saw the Episcopal Church, one, it didn't care about evangelism. Two, it seemed not to even it seemed to sit lightly on the gospel and
Here, just to interject here, my uncle's actually my granddad lived in Hong Kong as a policeman, you know, like a British policeman, and he actually, well, he lived there up until a certain age, you know, and it's quite interesting. But I know that he is involved in speaking, you know, in a Christian sort of way to people in that area, you know. It's quite interesting, especially that, you know, the situation between Britain and Hong Kong and the situation between China and Hong Kong. Obviously, there's a bit of China's obviously trying to squash Christianity a wee bit, you know. So there's ongoing, again, it's another spot, it's another hot spot, and we're trying to bring Jesus into that hot spot, you know, basically. So something we're going to have to work on, guys, you know.
I think we've got enough to worry about right here at the moment, to be honest.
Oh, come on, but God works everywhere, mate, you know. God works everywhere.
Yeah, indeed he does. I think he's got to work his will through the Chinese people themselves, though. I'm not amazingly fond of this American evangelicism that goes over to China and tries to sort of export American Christianity there, because I don't think it'll ever hold. I think that China needs an authentically Chinese, you know,
type. To be honest, man, God works through people, man, and you have to be optimistic. You have to just have that belief in.
Oh, I'm optimistic.
And that optimism, like,
yeah,
you know,
I'm optimistic, but I think some people use it to exploit others at times. You know, there's an old saying about the first missionaries to Hawaii, which is that they went there to do good, and they did very well indeed. You know, and that is there. It's there. That corruption is there. Christianity is always best, I think, if you go back to the earliest days, was when it was carried by native people to whatever land. You know, I think one of the greatest Christians in English history is the Venerable Bede, who was you know, completely a through and through Englishman, who really helped sort of bring the country very slowly. And England's, of course, an example of a country that came very peacefully from paganism to Christianity, and he's a terrific example. And you've got others sort of all throughout history, the great saints. And I think that I do think that China will probably become Christian in the near future, because it's effectively, I mean, the communists effectively destroyed the vestiges of their traditional culture in the so-called Cultural Revolution, which was another atrocity committed by the left.
Well, some of the traditional religious culture is returning out of the woodwork in China, along with the reemergence of blood feuds and clan squabbles over land and resources and stuff.
How long do you think the Chinese Communist Party is going to last, realistically, Lee?
I have no predictions.
No predictions?
I mean, well, it
can't last forever, can it? It can't.
Well, depends what they do. Yes, of course they can't last forever. But if for example, so there have been Chinese academics who've publicly called upon the Chinese Communist Party to turn to Christ.
Yeah, I've read
right,
them.
to convert to Christianity. So they're calling upon the Chinese Communist Party, which is officially atheist, to become Christian, like to become officially Christian. So I don't know if they would keep that name or what, if if by some miracle they all, or the majority, became Christian. I don't know what they would do.
I mean, they're certainly not actually communists at the moment,
Right.
are they? Yeah.
So what even would that be? Does that then become some kind of
Yeah, I mean, the Communist
Christian-
Party is just,
I mean-
it's just a name now for essentially a
right
bourgeois aristocracy.
yeah,
That's what it is.
institution?
Yeah.
It's just, it really is. It's defunct, like, you know, the Communist Party over in China. There is just it's just a nightmare, like, you know, it's just a nightmare.
Well, it's not so bad. I mean, it's not.
I know it's bad, boy. I know they're murderers over there, boy.
I know they're murderers, but they're not.
No, that's why it's not bad. You're saying it's not bad. They're killing Christians.
In reference to how it has been in the past.
I hate them. I hate them. So
Yeah, I know. There's good reason for that. But I'm saying that, you know, just about, what was it, 40? How many years ago was the Great Leap Forward, Louis? Is that 50 years now, or?
So
Yeah, it's about 60. It's a little bit over 60 years. You had people being forced to cook their children to eat because of the Communist Party's
of course,
policies.
the Great Leap Forward was not the only time that people in China have had to do that. I mean, there's always been.
Louis, we don't need to know that they knew that.
This is just.
Yeah.
I mean, sad things happen in China all the time. That's just how it is.
I did a full, one of my things for history in the UK was studying it was to do a bit of China during the communist period, and we learned all about the Kill the Sparrows campaign and trying to build a canal in a mountain and all sorts of things like that. I mean, it was crazy. Look, it's the most murderous regime in history, but the people who actually did that are now pretty much dead or retired. The modern communist regime is just an authoritarian. You know, it's like the regime in Vietnam, isn't it? It's
even now they have some crazy ideas. So in my home
I'm sure.
of Taishan or Toisan in Guangdong province, so they are building a nuclear power plant, which, you know, on its own, I think is a good thing. I mean, energy independence and all that, that's all good stuff. Also the ability to resist to resist American power and to resist the influence of certain tribe from outside. On the other hand, this project used to have some Frenchies on it, and of course the French, having 75% of their power generated by nuclear power plants in France, have the expertise and experience in this field. But somewhere down the road on this project, the Frenchies basically bounced from the project because they said there were parts of this plan that were just not safe. And they could not be confident that this would, you know, that it wouldn't blow up and be another Chernobyl. Obviously, this is a problem. And, you know, I've thought before of, you know, maybe spending if I ever moved to China, spending a few months in the summer in ancestral county, but that's kind of a no-go if you just have a possibly ticking nuclear time bomb in your home county.
I'm sure.
I think seriously, man, I think that's a load of outbollocks, mate, to be honest. Because see all this thing about these I mean, that was in the 1980s, Chernobyl, like, you know. I think things are a lot safer now. I mean, I think a lot of this stuff's all done by, like, Goldman Sachs and whatnot, just for the climate sort of thing, you know. It's all about this, give me these, we're going to put up these wind farms, and we're going to have these wave centres and whatever, and all this stuff, because they say, all this is so dangerous, but I think nuclear power's the way forward, man. I'd go for it every time, you know. I think it's a nonsense, all this it's going to, you know, I think, fair enough, the Japanese had their one, but they had it put down on the beach or something, like on the sea front or something, and then it got splashed by waves or whatever. But I don't think that's going to happen in mainland China, you know what I mean?
Nuclear power is much safer than it used to be. And
of course,
almost completely run by machines, and some new prototype reactors do not melt down at all.
Can't hear Rooster too well.
He's quite quiet, but
as loud as we can get him.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll move my mic a bit closer to my mouth.
Hey, Rooster, out of curiosity, you talked about how you're a recent convert to Orthodoxy. Where did you come from before that?
Nothing really. My parents are not religious in any way.
So what inspired you to become religious?
Oh, lots of stuff. It was actually kind of not alt-right, but like, you know, traditionalist publications.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of Orthodox things are pretty traditionalist, especially if they come from overseas as well. Like most of the major Orthodox outlets for news and stuff are run by Russia, essentially, which means they're typically traditionalist. They're typically very conservative. There's a lot to like there.
Is that you breathing really loudly?
I don't think so.
Because I think the sound kind of increased after you got closer to it. So, so I see we have a new person joining us. We have DJ LANECO. Is that right? Oh, he just muted himself.
It's going to be a meme. LANECO.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hey guys, how you doing?
Do you want? Did you want to put your avatar up, or just X out the little camera there, top button? Okay, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I don't know how to work this thing. Okay, here we go.
Hey, this is your first time with us, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Would you like to introduce yourself, just so we know about your Christian background?
Sure. DJ LANECO was raised Roman Catholic, got away from that, joined a very degenerate culture for a long while, and came back, and I'm a part of a conservative Presbyterian church.
And are you American?
I am American, yes.
Cool. And you're a DJ?
Yes.
I think I found your SoundCloud when I was trying to find if you had anything out there.
Yes. I have a crappy SoundCloud. It's just it's music that was played over the intercom at a defunct grocery store chain that I used to work at when I was younger.
You know, that is really funny, because I used to work at a grocery store too, and back in the days when Napster was a big thing, I downloaded a bunch of those songs and burned them to a CD. So it's like I just heard these songs over and over again, so I have a lot of memories of them.
Yeah. They're pretty dark too. Some of the songs they put up there, there's something very, I don't know, sad about a lot of those songs.
Yeah, they're meant to be, I don't know, not get people too energized, but
yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
We want them to buy chicken and rent videos and stuff on the way out.
I'm having
funny. Go on.
I was just saying, I'm having the funniest little interaction on Twitter right now with some girl called Bethany who is saying that there's going to be a military coup against Trump because he's going to oppress everyone's relatives. And I said, I'm sure that's definitely going to happen. And then she's tweeted me, "Your smugness is highly unattractive. Watch and wait, my foolish friend."
Wow.
I have had. She's asking for a Pepe.
What is she, a supervillain?
Did she teleport behind you and stab you with her katana?
No, but she is literally asking for a Pepe. So I've sent her a rare Pepe.
Hold
'cause
on. Mark, I'm going to send you something too I just found that may be appropriate.
Go ahead, shoot it over.
Hold on.
Leftists, very funny. You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun with them sometimes. Her little picture is like this banner that says "resist," and it's got all these fists raised towards the air, and there's like a yellow fist, there's a black fist, a red fist, a rainbow fist.
It's so powerful.
Super. Wow. I mean, bloody hell, guys.
This is democracy in action.
This is the resistance. This is the resistance. Bethany's Twitter account.
When the fist closes, that means it's time to shut up.
38 followers as well. I always like when people have like they're following more people than.
No, wait till it's 83 followers.
Yeah, wait till it's 83. Well, that was funny because I had an interaction with an American Antifa account, and you know that Antifa's like just getting set up in America. That's where the whole Richard Spencer punch thing came. So they haven't. Yeah, now they're going to jail, but they haven't been there for a long. Like, they haven't really been there at all while they've been in Europe. So they're just starting now in response to Trump. But there was this Antifa account. You guys continue talking. I'm going to find it because it's just quite funny, this picture.
The point is that you have to be attractive. That's what she's saying. You got to attract her first.
I've got it.
They really want us to be. They really want us to be based so that they can. They really want us men to be total shitlords, I guess.
Yeah. So, this was West Texas Antifa that started getting into a Twitter spat with me.
Wow.
And I sent her the picture and I just circled some things about her the Twitter page. It's a little petty, but I had to sort of point it out. Joined in 2010, 14,500 tweets, 389 followers. And I've got like I think 2,000 tweets or something like that, and I've got like 3 times that almost. And I just said to them, "Look, you're a group. I'm like a single individual. If you haven't had more success than that since 2010, pack it up and go home. It's not working, guys."
West Texas is pretty big, though. I don't know how many people they're going to be interacting with.
I then questioned them about it, and they said, "We have loads of users who aren't on social media." I was like, honestly, have you got like 90-year-old members then? Because there's no other sort of people Antifa recruits are not on social media.
Well, if fascists came over to West Texas, they'd be in trouble.
Well, West Texas is where they have a lot of the border crossers, isn't it?
In West Texas? Maybe.
Like where San Antonio, that kind of...
Is that considered West Texas? I thought there was some kind of like artsy city out there that... I can't remember.
Well, isn't Austin a really liberal city in Texas?
I think that's kind of South Texas.
It's pretty swiftly there, from what I know, but I could be wrong on that.
When I was there, yeah. They have delicious restaurants there.
Did you get what I sent you on Twitter, Mark?
Hold on. I'm just typing out a comment to somebody.
Here, guys, just quickly. Fuck the Antifa. Fuck the fucking Antifa.
Oh yeah, they're all horrible.
Well, obviously, these are the detritus. What have you sent me, Arbogast? It's like a photo. I'm going to send that to them. Thanks for that. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man. They have been driven into a kind of hysteria, which is a little fun to make fun of. I don't know some of them clearly have mental problems. Some of these people who think that the military is going to coup Trump out. I
think the military is going to. I mean, these are the people who thought that Trump was going to, round up all the gays and have mass executions. I mean, these people have been delusional from day one.
Yeah.
They're scared of Mike Pence.
Oh yeah. What was it? I think the Mike Pence. Do you remember when that list of nicknames was going around?
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
like a
a huge
sodomite.
list of nicknames.
Yeah, Mike Bum Driller Killer Pence.
Set all the gays ablaze. I don't know.
Oh,
Stuff like that.
that was great.
I think Gregory Carlin's current avatar is some like Mike Pence meme or
Mike Pence with electrocution eyes.
yeah. Yes.
Repent.
Yeah.
How does he know about that all the way over in Romania?
I wonder about Gregory. He knows a lot of stuff. He must really be in touch here.
Yeah, and he, I mean, he says to us he's from an area where they still use horse-drawn carriages, and he knows about like the Mike Pence electrocution. That's the internet for you.
What denomination is Pence?
Pence,
He's Roman Catholic.
he's Roman
Oh,
Catholic.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he? He always seemed more of like an evangelical type to me.
That's what I thought.
I don't know. I mean, it may be different in the Midwest.
It is
That's Mike Bannon for you. That's Mike Bannon for you, man. That man's magic.
You mean Steve Bannon?
Well, that's his lesser known brother, mate. You know what I mean? Sorry, mate. Sorry. That's my mistake. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Steve Bannon, sorry.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He said to Politico that the press is considered the opposition party. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
That's how he should treat them. Trump should. I mean, one of the great things he can do is just completely destroy the mainstream media in the United States very easily.
Yeah, I'd like to see him continue to be confused and have no idea why they lost. I don't want them to find out and figure it out. Just keep pushing. You're just pissing people off more and more.
Yep, make Keith Ellison head of the DNC. That'll do it.
Please do. Please do. That'd be great.
Well, it's just insane. I mean, honestly, how they think that doubling down on, fuck Whitey is going to help them win in 4 years.
Oh, it's so stupid. I love
Well,
it.
because remember, they don't think that it's a legitimate win. They literally think that
Oh, that's right.
Vladimir Putin was in every ballot box.
What's going on? What's going on with it? I'm not being funny here, but there's English people everywhere now. Like you, Mark, mate. Where are you English guys coming from? They're fucking everywhere. Where the fuck are they coming from? Seriously?
Oh, well,
I think
I'm
the
not pure
MI5
English.
is probably doing something. Just taking over the world or something again. Like,
Again?
yeah. Something's
Yeah, my
going
friends.
on here. Like, there's something weird going on.
What was the joke about the Irish? They would have conquered the world if it hadn't been for whiskey.
No.
That's harsh, mate. That's harsh, mate. I'd be watching you, man. I'd be fucking looking in your window.
I know several people of Irish descent whom I greatly appreciate in my life.
Mate, don't start sucking up to me now.
Yeah. Irish Ireland has some really interesting religious history. Actually, I was shown something not too long ago that was like one of the very earliest. I don't know if it was a Bible. It might have been some kind of apocryphal text that was in Ireland, but it was designed. It had this kind of motif on the front.
Yeah,
There was
like
a
the bull.
mixture. Well, it was a mixture between Celtic, the kind of Celtic artwork, but also Egyptian hieroglyph, because the original Christian missionaries to Ireland were from the Bishopric of Alexandria.
Yeah.
So it was originally the people who would then become Coptic, obviously, in Egypt, were actually the people who first missioned to Ireland and bought the converted the Druids over, who then became the very earliest Irish priests.
Them guys, it was the kings. At one time, it was the kings. Used to be the kings.
Oh yeah, of course they were
You
all
used to be king, boy. Then you fucking you boys just took us over, boy.
Yeah.
Wow, hey, master, I used to be king, boy, but
So would that mean that Ireland was a part of Eastern Orthodoxy, or?
Well, I mean, you have to understand this is back really before.
This is before even the first schism,
Yeah.
Well, there's been schisms since the beginning, small ones. But no, I mean, this is before you had any sort of conception. We tend to view things as this duality between East and West, the Greek East, the Latin West. this is still when you had sort of that Greco-Roman broader culture, and it was also back when you had multiple Latin rites within the western half of the empire.
Mhm.
So you had a Celtic rite, you had a rite from Gaul, you had a
Celtic
sort of
rite and Seraphic rite.
yeah. So I mean, there are some interesting things you find in Ireland, like, you know, as Mark was saying, there are patterns on books, decorations that only have sort of a correspondence in Egypt, but also the Irish. Their version of the Great Doxology, which is a prayer that's shared between both Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodox, follows the Byzantine, or what would become the Byzantine pattern, the more Eastern pattern. There's actually there's a book written on it that I have that talked about the early sort of Egyptian influence and Irish monasticism.
Yeah. So this was definitely before the Third Ecumenical Council, correct?
Well, no, number 3 was not the Coptics. That was number 4, Chalcedon.
Oh, 4, yes. Got
Yes.
confused. So it's
this one had to have been before. Well, even after Chalcedon, it took a full 100 years for that to be finalized.
Yeah,
we really don't have a split until I think it's like 550 AD.
Right. Yeah. So this is really sort of very early church, you know, before even. I mean, this is when really the Roman Empire, as such, was still theoretically a sort of contiguous entity surrounding most of the Mediterranean.
Yeah. No, even after the Western Empire fell, I mean, the people were still Romans. This is, you know, before you really have the Franks, which I know it's kind of a joke that Orthodox love to harp on the Franks, but in this case, literally before the Franks were even a political entity, you still kind of had this broader sort of culture to operate in. So
it's really fascinating stuff to go back to that very early.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were also parts of Alexandria, I mean, that sort of school of thought that were pretty Greek as well. I mean, it wasn't all Copts or Coptics.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Alexandria, that really was a city of Greek.
Yeah. Well, it was a Greek city,
but you had this kind of native Egyptian influence to things, particularly aesthetically, like I was pointing out. And that is, I do find that fascinating because obviously the Copts are not the Egyptians that are there now. The Egyptians there now are Arabs. So these were like original. Yeah, you still have them. The actual sort of Coptic Christians now are not just a religious group. They're pretty much an ethnic group because they're mostly bred amongst themselves. They don't intermingle with Arabs too much. But these were essentially a Greco-Roman vassal people, really, and got on in the empire much better than the Jews did. They were, you know, this was a center of learning, like I said. So it's a people really that effectively, for all intents and purposes today, have been, I mean, their civilization has been completely destroyed. And I think that's a warning to us all, isn't it? Absolutely.
You know, I'll have to check when, because I have that book that describes this. I'll have to check when this influence was happening relative to St. Patrick. Because St. Patrick was a Briton before he came over to Gaul and then evangelized the Irish. As I'm sure you probably, well, most of you, many of you probably knew that.
Drove out the snakes.
Yeah. Here, guys, St. Patrick was a Protestant. I'm only joking, guys. I'm only joking. Was it there? No, but here, guys, not to be funny here, like, as with any of these things, like, there's a lot of talk on the past and all this thing, man, you know, but the thing is that what we need to do is start actually affecting, as guys, sorting out and affecting the future here, like, you know. It's nice to dwell on the past, like, and to go through the ins and outs of the past, like, but there's fucking people being raped here, like, you know what I mean? It's a very serious game we're playing here, like, you know. And we need to start actually butting heads together here and see how we're going to stop these fucking rapes and stop the grooming gangs and whatever, and how we're going to stop you know, all this crap that's going on, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say, you know, with all of us, we kind of have a soft ecumenism that we've worked out online. But I think it's actually in one of the major documents produced by the Russian Orthodox Church with how it relates to the outside world. It calls for, you know, Catholics and Orthodox, and probably by extension Protestants, to work together on these issues, that we can make a difference.
You can't unite Protestants.
I'll have to send that to you, Mark.
Yeah, no, I think I know the statement. Is it from Kirill? Yeah.
I don't know if it was Kirill or Metropolitan Hilarion.
Ah, right. Okay. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Hilarion replaced Cephalod Chaplin. Is that correct?
Well, Hilarion's the head of the Department of External Relations. He's essentially the ambassador of the Moscow Patriarchate. I don't know if Cephalod Chaplin...
What position? Because he was dismissed from his position. I think.
Yeah, but no, Metropolitan Hilarion. Yeah. Metropolitan Hilarion has been at this post. I think he's actually he's essentially second in line to the Patriarch.
Oh, okay, I see. Chaplin's probably something under that, but is like some sort of.
Yeah, Chaplin wasn't even a bishop; he was just a priest.
Yeah, he was featured quite prominently in church relations, though. He'd often appear on TV and things. Yeah, it's a shame because I really appreciate a lot of the stuff he said. But yeah, I think the church is, and look, this is not just the church, it's worked through elements of the Russian state as well. You had that big WCF, World Congress on the Families, that took place in Georgia not that long ago, didn't you? Which had, I think there were a couple of Roman Catholic priests in attendance at that. And of course, the Georgian nobility was there, and that was a really good, positive event, starting to push back on some of this stuff. And, at least in countries where it's not yet managed to come in slamming the door on it. I really think that I think it's actually almost a duty to people in the West is to go to these countries that haven't yet been liberalized, which haven't yet had the freedom and democracy project brought to them, and to tell them exactly what waits in store for them, because they don't know. A lot of these people, they think that American aid and all these NGOs and George Soros funded stuff just comes, it's free money.
Well, sure, here, mate. Look at what they done. They did Japan, mate. For the handful of years. Sure, yeah, they've got it, that country.
They raped Japan, yeah, absolutely. And thankfully, we're now seeing, I think that efforts of people like ourselves, who went to Hungary and tried to influence Hungary, that's probably one of the driving factors behind Hungary clearing up its act. It's kicked out all of the Soros NGOs and is sort of shutting itself down.
Mate. See that man there? That one's satanic.
Yeah, he's George Soros is I'm surprised he hasn't been given a polonium martini yet, because he's certainly, if anyone deserves one, it's him.
Well, wouldn't be a bad thing,
It would not be a bad thing at all. Theoretically,
what poison is not? It's not an argument. You guys see that Stefan Molyneux video?
It probably wouldn't affect the man, the guy's just so constant. It's like he's a mutation anyway. Sure, the man's a mutation anyway. So how can anything alter his genetic fucking makeup anyway?
He's genetically evil.
Yeah, but you guys know what I'm referring to. You saw that video from Stefan Molyneux lately where he was talking about all the stuff the left is doing. And he says, Roger Stone was poisoned with something that was like polonium. You know what poison is, besides being potentially deadly? Poison is not an argument.
Oh, fuck.
I just burst out laughing when he said that. Sorry, what?
Is he like Ben Garrison now, and he just accepts that people make jokes about him and he just goes along with it?
What's going on there?
You mean,
who said that?
who's talking? Is it Rooster or...
Oh, that's me.
Okay. Is this Darth Vader now?
That's not me.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
Somebody... Oh, if you're not talking... Are you asking whether Stefan Molyneux sort of plays up his personality because he knows it's funny to people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, obviously he does.
Well, it seems like he's being serious though when he says some of this stuff. But
he's being serious, but he knows that he's become a meme in many circles. I mean, why else would he have a cartoon made of himself from Ben Garrison? It's he was, and then look, I don't have any ill feeling towards Molyneux. He's not where I am, obviously, but he's I think there is if you look past all the sort of questionable cultish stuff in his background. He is an inquiring mind, and I appreciated the very fair treatment of the Crusades that he did. And when he was doing like a little history series, he went back and sort of debunked a lot of the myths about the Crusades that liberals tell, and I appreciated that from him.
Here, Mark, one second here, Mark, mate. Where are you then? Where are you?
Where am I?
You said that he's not where you are. Where are you? Where are you?
I mean politically. I don't mean like geographically or anything. I mean.
No, man. But at the end of the day, man, you can't go out and cast that net over people, man. To be honest, like, you know, because everyone has their own limitations. You know what I mean, man? You know, casting that big net over that, man, like that's shocking, mate. That's shocking.
I don't think that was Mark's intention. I think it was just, you know, that everyone's at a different level. I mean, as a whole, we all belong.
I didn't actually really even mean it like that. I'm talking about ideologically.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah, what did you think I meant?
Wait,
well, I was just basically you were calling him out as being a cock. Basically, that's what you were saying. Like, as far as I
know. No, not at all.
You were saying he was cock. Well, you
No.
know.
There are different positions. There are different positions between being a cuck and being a reactionary or a traditionalist. You know, you could be a national socialist, for example. He's not a national socialist, but you could be. You know, and then you still wouldn't be where I am, but you wouldn't also be a cuck. You know.
Where are you though? You know what I mean? You say this, man, but you know, I'm
as far right as you can possibly go. Is what I usually say to people. So pretty much everyone. Well, I mean, there's a school of us who are this far to the right, but then pretty much, you know, the other groups. There are a lot of people on the alt-right who are to the left of us on various issues. So we would be to the right of Molyneux. Molyneux's kind of like an anarcho-capitalist kind of. I think I'd describe it as an ANCAP at this point. He's
like a soft liberal of some sort.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's a radical libertarian, but he also believes in authoritarian. Like, right. He's not NAP, or he somehow like twists the NAP in a Hoppian way to say we need to throw people out of helicopters.
Libertarians, still liberal.
Yeah, he's a Pinochet. He's a Pinochet-ian minarchist. I mean, that's. But yeah, just
minarchism's actually pretty good. Like, I like it. I think that's pretty good. Like.
Yeah, so I
like the helicopter. The helicopter thing's pretty good.
I think I'm just saying we don't. Thing, the helicopters.
Me and Molly don't agree on everything. Is what I'm saying. That's what I mean by he's not where I am. It's like if you're talking to a communist, you'd say you're not where I am because the communist thinks differently to you.
Am I the token socialist here?
I guess so.
Well, you're also the token of other things too, but.
I am. I'm token Kahneman, token.
Fucking hell, LUE-YEE.
Sometimes.
LUE-YEE, cuck into federal state, become a neo-feudalist. That's where it's at.
No, I think I can have all of those. I can have feudalism, socialism.
Well, I tell you, I've been trying for the last couple of weeks to explain neo-feudalism to this guy on YouTube who consistently thinks that I'm a crypto-Marxist, that I'm a secret social democrat, and that I want to fund the NHS and do other things. And I'm
social democrat. That's
that's quite funny, isn't it? He also called me a neo-conservative recently, which is even funnier. But it's amazing when you encounter people who can't like fathom.
More wars for Israel.
More wars for Israel, Bill Kristol. You know, yeah. But some people can't fathom these kind of political positions that are outside the Overton window because to them, it's
Pakistani doctors, Pakistani patients, Pakistani doctors, Pakistani patients. Fund it all, fund it all, fund it all.
Yeah. Oh, apparently that's what I'm.
I believe that was a Crass song.
No, I'm not a socialist in any way.
That's a Crass song. You mean by the band Crass?
Yeah, it was the old band Crass. No, I'm just joking. Sound like it could have been some. What's that guy's name? Penny
Pakistani doctors, Pakistani patients. Fund it all, fund it all, fund it all.
Well, did you get that from somewhere Irish?
No, mate, no, but that's exactly what they do. What's actually the NHS? That's actually what the NHS is. It pays Pakistani doctors £100,000 a year to treat Pakistani patients who bombard themselves in the England, you know. It's just a farce, man. It's not even funny. But joke if it was funny, man. You know, it's shocking. Like, it's incredible. Like, it's incredible.
So I'm pretty new to this reactionary, neo-reactionary movement, or whatever you would call it. So is there a point of unification at some point, or is there an issue that everybody surrounds around? I don't see Protestantism, honestly, even as a Protestant, I don't see it fitting in here, and I'm actually considering leaving this all behind because I feel it's ultimately a protesting.
Well, to be honest, man, I haven't heard the mention of Jesus yet in this whole fucking thing, like, you know.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, wouldn't there be one major issue that everybody could get around? I mean, what I'm trying to say is, as far as Protestantism is the farther west, the furthest west you can get into America, they're never going to unite. I mean, they have no authority. They're based on rejecting authority. They are their own authority. They are their own apostleships. I mean,
Well,
it's not just a matter of.
LUE-YEE, we know that the Anglican Church is kind of an exception because it does this quasi-Catholic
I actually
thing.
think that it is possible to get together at least the Anglicans, the Lutherans, the Presbyterians, some of the Methodists.
No, I'm a part of a PCA, and I don't know if you know anything about Overture 43, where they're literally repenting for sins of the past, of, quote, racism.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Would you want the Lutheran?
We don't want those.
insane.
We don't want that from the PCA. We don't want Russell Moore, who has me blocked as a neo-Nazi on Twitter. Like, what? Neo-Nazi? Oh, okay.
Do you want the lesbian bishop from Sweden, the lesbian Lutheran bishop?
Hello.
For
Yeah.
neo-reaction, I'd say that the unifying, not like Christian neo-reaction, but just neo-reaction in general, I'd say it's generally anti-enlightenment sentiment.
Yeah, obviously neo-reaction is kind of a technical term. It's a sub-school or sub-focus of general reactionary thought, which is much older. Neo-reactionary only dates to Mencius Moldbug, who started blogging, I think, in 2003, finished up about 2013. Reactionary thought goes all the way back to Joseph de Maistre and the opponents of the French Enlightenment. So yeah, that's the basic school. Obviously, that's not the alt-right. The alt-right contains that plus a number of other ANCAPs, neo-pagans, some different libertarians, even contains like some socialists and communists.
I mean, even
No, it doesn't, man. It doesn't have any socialists or any communists.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
It's involved. The alt-right is just imposters and should be.
LUE-YEE
LUE-YEE
is a self-identified socialist, and I have actually encountered a communist who says, "I'm actually a communist, but I'm red-pilled about race and think that race is."
Yeah. I mean, there are Marxist-Leninists even in the old.
No, there isn't one, you know.
The unifying factor of the alt-right is basically a collection of pissed off people, and they're pissed off for a number of different reasons. One of the main reasons is the racial issue.
Yes.
But the reactionary school of thought is far more metapolitical, some ways theopolitical in terms of how it deals with spirituality.
That's how I interpreted it. Yes.
Race is just like a substratum. So HBD, it's an interesting thing. We engage with it. We talk about it. It's important. It's real. But it's not like the whole kit and caboodle. We don't think that if you just got rid of all the immigrants, you'd have a nice white country, quote unquote.
But that's
There's
the
a whole
basis.
lot more problems.
God divided up the nations. He did that. He made you who you are. He made you what you are. Otherwise, you're just random. It's just chaos. It's just nonsense whatsoever. So who cares?
But
actually,
guys, here, let me speak about it. I mean, like I say, if you look at the Good Samaritan, there was always an interconnection between races and stuff. There was always going to be these flashpoints or whatever you would call it, counter faces or whatever, and that doesn't need to be a bad thing, and there's actually ways you can what you don't want to do is start degenerating people, dehumanizing people, all that sort of thing. But you can do that, but at the same time you don't want to be if people are like grooming gangs, raping your kids, starting doing stuff like that. You don't want to be sort of overly allowing them to do that either. You know what I mean? You have to have like a reason,
right?
a
Exactly.
reasonable.
Yes.
You know what I mean, man?
Right. You have to have something to identify and rally everyone around. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Scream humanism and charge at them?
That's what I mean, man. I mean, if you look at these grooming gangs, these raping gangs they have in England, for example, which I've seen because I've lived over there and seen it. You have to just say, here, mate, fuck off, get your fucking self out. And you have to literally stop these people doing these things because they won't stop themselves. And the police won't stop them. And the government and the Church of England and any authority in the land won't stop them. You have to go down and protest yourself because people will not stop them.
Well, they know who they are. They know who they are. You don't. I mean, it is a white Christian nation. These are people who know exactly who they are.
It isn't, mate, because the communists have stopped. It's not now. It's not
a white Christian.
I know it is, but it isn't anymore. I mean, it isn't any longer, or people aren't at least evangelizing.
It isn't.
Evangelize their left.
And we can't. That's right, and we can't sit here and say that it is. I mean, if you look at Britain first, you look at your Paul Golden there or whatever. You can't say to him, right, this is your country, because legally, according to the law of I mean, to be honest, I mean, the British government, whatever, ruled the world, whatever. They had their own fucking government over the world or whatever. So they've made this weird government, this weird constitution, which there's nothing that exists, you know what I mean? And they, so they've got the laws, what they can just bring in anybody they want, and they can allow Pakistanis just to do what they want and whatnot. Like, it's ridiculous, It's crazy, man. And this is what's happening. There, people are coming in and they're just raping, like, and there's nobody, and they're not they can do anything about it, like.
For as long as incompatible people are forced together, this kind of thing will happen over and over and over again.
Until someone's gone.
Yeah, until someone.
It eventually ends in.
Someone's raped out of existence.
Something bad, obviously.
Yeah, you're gonna have this come to a head in some way or form.
We want to be careful of what we say, obviously, but we know what we're implying, and we know, and that's.
Well, that's
I would be speaking
at the end of the day, man. At the end of the day, they don't care. They rape our kids. They don't care what's said about them. They're grabbing that 13-year-old girl by the throat. They're putting that gun in that 13-year-old's mouth. They're pouring the petrol over that 13-year-old girl. Yeah. They don't care. And you guys have to start waking up and smelling the bacon here, like, 'cause that's what it is, man. They're not worried.
Very much
so
aware.
Why the hell should we be worried about what we're saying? We have to think about, the grooming gang, the Church of England's going to be worried about what we're saying because of the grooming gangs. Or, oh God, goodness me.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think in some ways too, like from my perspective, I mean, I'm in America. And we have our own problems to worry about at this point. I mean, we understand your plight. Don't get any of us wrong. We understand your plight, but I don't.
Yeah, you're going to focus on yourselves, which is exactly what you should do.
But a lot of times what happens in Europe happens here later.
Well, I think it happens in a different way because you're dealing with different types of minorities.
You're not dealing with Pakistanis, like See, I actually know a few like Latino people and stuff, and you guys are absolutely on the pig's back with them people because they're nice people. To be honest, I love Latino people. God bless
tell that to Gate Steinley.
Yeah. Like I say, man, I haven't had that much experience with them, but I do, like, generally, because in the limited experience I've had with them, I think they're all right, But then, like I say, man, I don't really know it because I haven't had the full whack of it, like, But
look, you can find nice Pakistanis. You certainly can. But the fact is that it's not worth that one person for the 100 criminals, rapists, and murderers that you get. So why not just keep these people?
It's a mixed bag.
Ian, we don't need the impression. That's not necessary.
It's a mixed bag because the Latinos still have kind of left over the caste system, so there are some that are a lot,
can't hear you very well, Rooster.
Oh, sorry. All right. Some Hispanics are a lot, implicitly, whiter than some of the others, and they kind of self-segregate down south.
Well, yeah, there is kind of like a caste system in Mexico, isn't there, based on percentage of Amerindian ancestry?
Yeah,
it's about
and that's
pretty
like
much.
it for all of them, because it was all colonized by Spain and Portugal, and they set it up like that.
Yeah, and it makes sense because you can tell when you meet like a Hispanic person. Obviously, a person from Nicaragua or Mexico behaves very differently from somebody from like someone from Chile or Argentina, because there wasn't as much of that mixture there. So they recognize even there's a hierarchy of sort of the quality of the individual and what the individual is able to do, because they've mixed with that native Central American blood, which, I mean, those people were cutting out each other's hearts and sacrificing to the sun before the Spanish got there. So
Yeah.
you're getting that.
No, there was a really great video I found online where it was the rest of South America was hosting an intervention with Argentina.
Oh man. Well, sometimes they need an intervention, honestly.
Yeah. No, I mean, you talk about the Hispanics, as a wise man once said, someone's doing the raping. So
Someone, yeah, well, someone is indeed doing the raping, and in Europe, somebody else is doing the raping, but nobody seems to want to. Well, all but a few leaders.
yeah. Would you give the realistic shot of Le Pen winning the French presidency?
I think Le Pen will win. I've no doubt about it. Like, no doubt about it. She will. She'll do it.
Did you have the same no doubt about Norbert Hofer winning the presidency in Austria?
No, because to be quite honest with you, there was like a coalition against him. It was obvious again.
But the same thing will be the case in France.
Yes, it will. It could be like, but God's on our side, man. If not, there'll be a kind of a flash point in France,
Well, as
which
far as the
I'd
left goes,
more than happily entertain. Like, if that's the case, I'd happily entertain that.
Well, I think that the result is probably not going to be that awful either side, because look, the socialists are losing whatever, so it's going to be between Marine Le Pen and
the game's up.
François Fillon.
Everyone knows the game's up. So
it might not be a coalition, because I think the left hates Fillon just as much.
Well, yeah, I pointed
Because,
this out. They're going crazy over Fillon. They're saying that he's a Catholic extremist, that he's, the left is going nuts on social issues and all things regarding Fillon, forgetting that they need to all support him and rally around him to defeat Le Pen. So that's what I actually think. Yeah, if Le Pen wins, it will be because the left, like magazines like Le Monde and other French publications on the left, went after Fillon and poisoned his sort of standing among the left in the country, so they weren't able to come together as that kind of coalition to block Le Pen. That'll be interesting. I hope that happens.
I'm actually part Huguenot. I'm a part of Huguenot, so to be quite honest with you, man, I'm hoping for the Protestants to rise up, man, and just to take back the North, no surrender.
Darth Vader back again?
We're being visited by some sort of spectral force.
What do you think of Fillon? Do you think he'd be a good alternative to Le Pen if she didn't get in? Or
He's better than anybody on the socialist camp, and probably better than anybody else who was running for UMP. So in the end, we got the best possible race that we could have hoped for, really.
Whom do you think that God is blessing as far as someone running for there? Isn't it always the case as a woman, as a leader of a nation, is always a judgment?
Yeah,
I don't really believe that God blesses Democratic candidates, honestly, for any race.
Okay. But as a leader, I mean, he puts people in place. He takes people out.
Right, providentially.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So
don't know.
isn't a woman in leadership a judgment one way or the other?
Well, yeah, I think so. And I still think she's preferable to Fillon, because Fillon's, I think he's still more of a neocon. I mean, with Trump as American president, he's going to have to follow his style, unless he's going to suddenly become,
Well, he's not a
French
neocon with regard to
nationalist,
Russia.
trying to make a French bloc in Europe, and be the next de Gaulle. That would be wonderful. But
I'm pretty fine with it. I mean, he wants to remove all the sanctions on Russia, and that'll be the end of those sanctions. If France stops supporting them, then there's just no you know, you won't get Italy.
That part is good.
That part is good. But he's not been strong enough on immigration. I mean, immigration is going to be the main concern for French voters.
He's an opportunist about the immigration thing, but
yeah, exactly.
We have the tide on our side, so it seems that God has.
Always go with Le Pen. Absolutely, her position's more clear. It's more concrete, and you know, even if she's not maybe everywhere that I'd personally like her to be on certain social issues, Marion Maréchal Le Pen, her niece, is absolutely wonderful. I think
Maréchal.
She's absolutely brilliant. I saw pictures from when she went to. She recently made a diplomatic visit to Crimea and met with Natalia Poklonskaya, who's the rather beautiful jurist there, and it was just like somebody had posted, everybody alt-right right now is absolutely loving these images. These two just beautiful defenders of the European way, and they're just brought together at this moment. I think there's going to be good things in the near future. I think, and yeah, well, let's hope for Le Pen.
Les Brigandes. Have you ever heard of that band, the Les Brigandes?
No.
It's a French band.
Good. You should check it out. Like, it's a really good solid band. Like, you know.
Les Brigandes.
Here, Les Brigandes. It might be actually. That sounds good, man. That sounds good. Like, here, lads, is there anything you have to ask me here, because I'm gonna have to go to bed here, man, because I'm wrecked here. Like. And anything you, because I'm gonna have to head on here, like, you know what I mean.
You're saying you have to go to bed, Irish?
Basically, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. Oh, hey, just as William joined us.
Right, no sweat. Keep her lit, boys. Have a good one. Cheers, man.
Take care.
Ladies.
Hello.
Hello, William. How are you?
Oh, Teleologic has joined us. How's it going?
Good. Well, you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good at the moment. I've got a bit of a cough.
No, we've been sick too.
It's the herbal Jew. No, I don't smoke that stuff. I don't smoke anything, honestly.
Probably for the best.
People are going to imagine me like squatting like a Slav with a cigarette between my lips. No.
Well, you gotta get the bottle of
Holding a rosary.
I'm not some young gopnik.
Gopnik.
Drinking ouzo and.
Have you tried? By the way, Mark, I don't know. Wait, you're old enough to drink alcohol in the UK, right? Obviously.
Oh yeah, but people are drinking alcohol at 9 years old here, man. Come on.
Have you ever had a Russian Standard? I don't know if you can get that there.
Bloody hell, I may have that. You see, it's been a while since I was drinking, really, like in any large amount. I really stopped when I went to America, so maybe, but maybe not. I'd have been 16 at the time, so.
Yeah.
Kind of quit all that stuff. Had a bad effect on me.
Well, yeah, it's not good for you in the long run. So.
Mark, how old are you? And are you an old man like Ian? That's interesting, LUE-YEE. Do I sound like an old man?
Well, I don't know. You could be anything.
I could be. You can usually tell from people's voices how old they are.
Like I was honestly surprised because I think you're roughly my age.
Yeah, I'm in my 20s.
I used to think you were a lot older, like in your 30s or 40s, but
I
might
be in your 30s.
Ian, what are you in?
30s.
30s. See, because you sound older because of your mic, and have you gone back to the other mic now?
Yeah, I had to. You saw I dropped out a few minutes ago. It's because my plugin crashed on my laptop, so I moved to the other laptop.
Yeah, the different mics add like a decade onto you.
Well, actually, this is closer to what my real voice sounds like because I've listened to these before. So what you're hearing now is probably closer to my actual voice.
Oh well, you have a magic microphone that makes you sound younger. Hold on to that. You should.
Well, it comes
this voice in my
head. You
have blonde hair, but that may or may not be true.
I don't have blonde hair.
I just imagine you as your avatar, which is probably
yeah, me too.
That
It's
may
always funny
inform
when people on Twitter are like, "Man, old people like you need to die off," stuff like that.
Yeah, teleologic's old, but we knew that.
Yeah, I'm the old man here. So watch yourselves.
I'm disappointed that if I ever happen to see Mark, in real life, that I'll be disappointed that he doesn't look like Ian Mozart.
Mozart, yeah. I wouldn't. No, I don't really look like him. Well, this is weird because somebody actually did tell me that I had the rough facial arrangement of your, the arrangement of like where your eyes and nose and mouth are, but that I roughly had that. My forehead's a tad smaller though, but no.
He has a good forehead.
We will meet one day because I'm sure that I'm going to get to America at some point because I want to go to the New York Hangout for the Authosphere.
Oh.
I think they have like a year. I think they do it annually. They all get together. All the people who frequently comment at the Authosphere or have articles there, and they have little speeches and things. So I'd very much like to go to that, and I'm sure you'd be welcome to come up.
You have the money for it?
I don't at the moment. I'm, I'm not even wage cucking at the moment because I can't get a. I'm sort of transitioning between employment at the moment, and so yeah, I'm still in education, so I've got to get through that, and then when I'm independent, I'm gonna do a lot more formal stuff with regard to this sort of political stuff, I think.
LUE-YEE says transition as a verb is degenerate. Yes, kind of has become, the connotations have become kind of degenerate. Yeah.
No, I mean, even before those connotations, transfer, switch over.
Oh, for crying out loud!
Transition is a noun.
It's fucking grammar Goebbels.
Yeah, I am not a grammar Nazi. I am not the grammar Nazi. I am the grammar Führer.
Oh man, he's the grammar Yuan Shikai. That's what he is.
I remember that time I corrected Tsang and Drake on the use of momentarily. Do you remember that?
Oh, I could
He's
imagine.
like, whatever, dude.
Me and him got into it once about theology. It was quite entertaining.
He got into it with Adam Gray too. Did you see that?
He gets into it with everyone about theology.
Who did he get into it with?
Who?
Adam Gray.
Who's Adam Gray?
Oh yeah.
He hosts. He hosts.
Good morning, White America.
Right. Good morning, White America.
Where is that?
That's
right.
number 21.
Oh,
I think that was before you joined us, Mark.
Yeah, no, I remember the hang. I remember the. Oh no.
I think you were in that one, Mark, but you joined after, right after they got into it.
It was a tense atmosphere because you'd had a prot Catholic spat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always interesting. But hey, fun.
Himself.
What?
What'd you say?
Tsang and Drake.
What about Tsang and Drake?
Oh, that he's become a papist himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a papist. Yeah.
I thought you always was.
I was a Protestant until just a month ago.
Oh, he
That's what he
became.
was saying.
Yeah, he made this transition, I think, over. And that's when I started tweeting at him because of his dismissal of orthodoxy. And so I kind of got into it with him on pretty obscure stuff, but.
Well, he'll happily indulge in that.
Yeah, you can get into it easily with people on Twitter over very sort of arcane points that they would want to argue or whatever. I don't know. It's not worth it. It's not worth a Twitter debate over with 134 characters or whatever.
Well, I'd tell him, it's whatever, but it's his style, so I'll just let him do it.
Yeah, well, look, I think people have their own styles, and I don't think you're gonna convert anyone by sort of, talking to them about theological issues over Twitter. I've never heard of a Twitter conversion. Maybe Second Drake was converted to Catholicism through Twitter. I don't know, but yeah, in fact, I had Soap Jackal try to argue something with me about Rene Guénon once, and it was just at a point I just said, "Okay, mate."
Actually, I was going to ask you, if you mentioned Guénon, I was going to ask you, one of the things I've noticed, especially if you look at Father Seraphim Rose, who was more influenced by Ganon. He seems to be a bit more apocalyptical than Evola.
Hmm.
All right, before you start that, I gotta get going.
Yeah, well, yeah, good time to leave. That's a kettle of fish.
All right, take care, guys.
Really, thanks for
Yeah.
joining us, DJ.
Thanks,
It's good to
man.
hear from you.
Yep, thanks. Bye.
Adios.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you briefly.
Nice to meet you. I've read more Evola than Genon, is the thing. I've only read one of Genon's books, and other extracts from others. I do need to correct that. I need to read more of him, but I've read 2 full ones of Evola. I've read Revolt Against the Modern World and Ride the Tiger, which I think Ride the Tiger was his last. So that would be his more sort of concrete final resting position. He is quite apocalyptic. The imagery he uses at the end of Revolt is, I mean, Ride the Tiger is more of an introspective type book, but Revolt is, I think that the last sort of page of it is very reminded me of Alexander Dugin, actually. But Genon, yeah, they were both. All of the traditionalists were like this. Kumaraswamy was like this. Fritjof Schuon was like. Fritjof Schuon said that 3/4 of people deserve to die for being profane. So,
well, all people deserve to die for being sinners.
The beak knows. But this is just a common thread. I think it's a common thread.
Okay, no, I haven't gotten that far in Revolt Against the Modern World. So
it's dense. I wish I'd read it more, and I wish I'd read Genon first, really, because I don't think I took nearly as much from it as I would if I reread it today. Because that was, God, what a book to start on. If you're going to start reading reactionary text, do not start with Revolt Against the Modern World. You probably couldn't do worse. I mean,
That's
maybe
what
start
I did.
with.
Actually, I still haven't finished Revolt though.
You started with it and still haven't finished it.
But I'm well known for starting and not finishing books. I'm often marked for this. It's just hard.
There's only one book that I'd say would be a worse starting point, and that's Oswald Spengler's Decline of the West. Massive.
I've like attempted to read the first chapter multiple times.
No.
I just can't. It's just so.
Socialism is more readable, I think.
Hold on, I've got Revolt on my lap at the moment. Yeah, here we go.
How convenient.
So I just read this. I'll read it. Well, yeah, I keep my my bookcase close to hand. This is the section at the end from the last full chapter, end of the cycle, where Evola says, and this is in the midst of the Cold War, so he didn't predict the end of the Cold War. He thought there'd be a nuclear Armageddon. He says, the communist world and America, in their being persuaded of having a universal mission to accomplish, represent a reality to be reckoned with. An eventual conflict between them will be, on the plane of world subversion, the last of the violent operations, and will require the beastly holocaust of millions of human lives. And so the last phase of the involution and shift of power through all 4 traditional castes and the advent of a collectivized humanity will eventually be achieved. And even if... sorry. And even... bloody hell. That's my Thetans. I can't talk. And even if the feared catastrophe of a nuclear holocaust is averted, this civilization of Titan's iron, crystal, and cement metropolises. I can't finish. Fucking hell.
Take a break, Mark. Seriously, don't die.
Get some water.
Doing this, yeah.
Well, that was awkward.
Yeah.
Actually, in the last plebeian podcast, I think there was a moment like that where Mark just coughed really suddenly and it scared everybody. I think it was Mark who coughed. And
you know what? The plebeian podcasts, I wanted to make an effort to actually watch those this year. But, I mean, it's only the 26th of January and you're already on, like, episode 5. I mean, I just can't keep up.
Too much.
Oh, yeah, that's over 1 a week.
Wallace always does them at weird times, so I never...
He does. I'm usually working when he does.
That's because he's in the UK.
Yeah. Have any of you guys checked out what was it? I mean, it's a couple weeks old now, but P.T. Carlos.
I did see the one where he had Mark as a guest, although I haven't listened to any others.
Oh, P.T. Carlos. I think I may write for him. So.
Oh, I was gonna watch that. I think it's in my watch laters on YouTube.
Yeah.
No, the one with Mark was good, but also the second one he did with Nathan Duffy on American religion was quite
Yeah,
good.
I tried
Where's
to get
that
Nathan
hosted?
Duffy on here once. P.T. Carlo, you mean?
Where is it hosted? Yeah.
Yeah, P.T.
It's
Carlos.
just done. It's I gotta.
It's on a new website, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll find the link. Hold on a
It's
second.
Thermidor Mag.
Duh.
Thermidor.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm really sorry about that. It's been bugging me all day, and then it just suddenly hits you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, but anyway, as I was saying, and even if
More
the
of that.
feared catastrophe of a nuclear holocaust is averted, this civilization of titans, iron, crystal, and cement metropolises, of swarming masses, statistics, and technology that keeps the forces of matter at the leash, will appear as a world that wobbles in its orbit. One day it will wrest itself free and lose itself in a space in which there is no light other than the sinister glow cast by the acceleration of its own fall. So he's quite apocalyptic. He can be.
Yeah, I have definitely not gotten to the end of that. Mostly because I'm reading it on a PDF on my phone.
Eesh. Ooh, bloody degenerate. Absolutely
I know.
degenerate.
I know. I'm ashamed of myself.
That's the only way to read a really long book.
It's the only way to read any reactionary
Not my
stuff
PDF.
because it's not in the library.
Well, the
Well,
thing is,
that's-
Evela's books you can get quite easily is the thing,
Yeah.
and Genon's to some extent as well. Other reactionary authors, I mean, bloody hell, good luck paying for one of the actual a physical copy of a book by Maestra. They're like 50 quid or 70 quid.
Demet, you can just go to the library.
Well, I ain't paying for anything, and if it ain't out of the library, I'm downloading it.
I think I have a PDF of Crisis of the Modern World, which I haven't read yet.
You should definitely read that. I read that on PDF.
I should read
Yeah.
it.
It's quite an easy read on PDF as well.
I read Brave New World as an HTML file back in 2004 or so.
That's impressive.
I listened to Liberalism is a Sin by Felix Sardi Salvini on podcast. That's the only audiobook I've ever done.
Nice.
And it was narrated by some, God bless him. He wasn't an amazing narrator on YouTube. He kind of stumbled over the word. And that's fair enough. I mean, he read a whole damn book and recorded it. So, yeah, but it's that's still up, I think. It's a good book. It's a good little sort of treatise.
Now, I used my leftover money from Christmas, and I've been buying a bunch of, I think about like 3 of Dugan's books on Kindle, basically.
I've got 2. I've got one of his on physical copy. I'm gonna get another one probably.
So apparently the catalog at Princeton has 4PT, but the time that I tried to find 4PT in the library of Princeton University, it had just been ordered, so it was not yet even in the library. It was in the catalog and it didn't have a number.
And that's quite amazing that they'd carry that, because obviously it's published in the US by Arctos.
Yeah, but they also have, Evela and other stuff.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You are blessed with a nice library.
Yeah.
Yeah. The library at my university, and it's not really a large one, has like the entire collection of the Church Fathers, like by the Catholic Publishing Company or something.
Oh, cool. When I met with Adam Wallace in person, he took me to the library at the university where he is, and it's amazing. It's this massive underground sort of. It was like going into the Vatican archives, I felt, with these shelves that you rotate a thing and the shelf moves back, and I found that very sort of space age. But he showed me all these old books, and nothing particularly reactionary, but just like very old books, and every old book is really reactionary to some degree, but just like the binding on them, and you can see how much care went into actually creating a book back then, and it's really something.
Yeah, sometimes the inside pages, the liner in the first page.
Yeah, Rooster, could you mute yourself? Sorry. I can hear you breathing, I think.
I don't think it.
Either are you outside or is there a breeze? any kind.
My window's open.
That might be it.
That may be it. Yeah.
Did you hear sort of a whirling air sound?
Yeah. Well, it sounds almost too fast to be just breathing.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I have a fan on next to me, but I have my hand in front of the mic guarding it.
It's pretty hard to hear Rooster still, but
yeah.
I can hear him just enough, but has to have a clear, has to have peace and quiet.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I was going to ask Rooster. You said you're an Orthodox convert and you're new kind of to the reactionary stuff, right?
Yeah.
Do you have are you familiar with the Telegram app?
Telegram?
Yes.
I don't think no.
Okay, well, I don't know. Add me on Twitter so I can DM you. But I run a sort of a men's group for Orthodox Christians, reactionaries, and other right wings.
All right, sure. What's your Twitter? Or send me in the
I think
text.
I posted in the. I just
All right.
followed you.
Oh, all right. Oh, yep. All right. Bunch of people followed me actually. I think everyone in the. All right. I got you.
All right. Now I'll message you through there then.
All right.
So anyway, well, while they're doing that, we should probably talk about something. So how about those NFL playoffs? No, I'm kidding.
Sports ball.
I paid. It's one of those things. Being in America, you can almost not pay attention to some degree, but I really didn't.
You'd be surprised. Since I'm a Chinaman, I never watched those things. I didn't know pop culture.
You
I didn't know
have
pop
an extra
songs, pop
layer
TV.
of cultural insulation.
Not even Alabama football, or
Well, I didn't live in Alabama. I lived in Virginia, but
I thought you were born in Alabama, though, right?
I was born in Virginia, but I just didn't pay much attention to those things, and I saw most of Western culture as degenerate, so I didn't participate much in it.
Correct diagnosis.
Yeah, I actually was kind of a latecomer to sports. I didn't really become a big sports fan until I was a teenager, but then I really made up for lost time and got really into it. So, and now, I mean, I still follow baseball, but other sports I'm just kind of lukewarm about. Well, actually, I don't really follow football or basketball at all anymore, and I used to be into them, but because I'm on Twitter a lot, I can kind of just see what's happening because it's always in the news and it's all stuff popping up.
You're watching the one that's still white.
Baseball?
Yeah.
It's
No,
actually
baseball isn't white.
it's pretty Latino, actually.
Yeah. The only white man sport is
Hockey.
yeah, it's being picked by the Canadians.
Canadians aren't white.
Well, okay, the thing about mestizos, though, is that if they marry white people 1 generation later, their kids are already white-looking, so it doesn't...
It is sort of true. Like, I know a girl who's...
If you don't let in tons of them at a time.
Yeah. I actually know a girl whose mother is Mexican, but, like, her siblings are all married to white people, and their kids all look white, so...
Yeah. And they're going to be white.
Their genetic
White.
like dominance isn't very strong. It's not as strong as black or Asian. It's quite weak. Same with Native American, by the way.
So we can conquer them.
Yeah.
Cut them all.
Absorb them.
Just take them as concubines.
I don't.
I know. I probably meme too much about polygamy.
I just messed with my mic. Am I louder now?
Yes.
Yeah, you're
Oh, yeah.
All right, sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can also hear that noise.
Air noise. Yeah, just it's good in habit to mute yourself if you're not talking, just so if there's
All right.
noise on it.
Gotcha.
I mean, I kind of try to do that too. I mean, if you're in the middle of wow, that like changed the atmosphere right away. Yeah, but Yeah, I try to mute myself when I'm not speaking, just out of habit. But if you're in the middle of a discussion, it's good to be unmuted. But yeah. So
I've got
You have a
somebody.
theme this time, Ian.
I was going to say, I mean, the biggest thing we're not talking about that's happened since this last thing we had in was the inauguration.
Oh yeah, I went.
you went?
Yeah,
You went?
I
Wow, lucky you.
I actually drove all the way back up from Duke to go see the inauguration.
Were you in like full sort of fashy gear or?
No, I mean I was just dressed as a normal person. But my I mean my I had my brother with me. He could have taken 10 of them if he had to.
Yeah.
But he was very thankful that we hadn't wandered to the area of K Street where the rioters were. He said, I can take 5 or 10, but I can't take 50,
Yeah, because you're quite a shitlord on Twitter, so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody recognized you.
Yeah, although I don't know.
I've seen you triggering people quite extensively.
I'm not that bad, am I?
I think you are.
Yeah, I'm still.
Okay, good from
You're an
my
instigator.
perspective, but he's always. I do recommend people follow him on Twitter. He's quite good.
Yeah, definitely.
It's probably one of my
Follow
favorite
you,
accounts. And everyone should follow me as well. I'm stuck at that 900 itch, like where it oscillates between going over 900 and then back down because people getting their accounts showed and.
Yeah, I noticed that
Brandon.
too. Everybody's getting banned these days. Excuse me.
I think I'm in the sweet spot. I'm, just popular enough to be a good node in the system, but not popular enough to get shorted or doxed or anything like that.
Look at your
Not that I need to get doxed. Everyone knows who I am and where I am.
Were you on the official Nazi list? Like the list they put on
Did I make
change.org?
that finally?
I don't know. I didn't like check
checked
everybody's
months
name.
ago and
on
I was not on the list. I was kind of disappointed, to be honest.
I was in the top 100 somehow.
Reactionary Ian was on there. Nick B. Steves was on there.
Alex
I was like,
Miller
I need to get on that list. That's more.
Yeah,
You weren't on there?
But
No, because I'm down below.
Myself
I was on.
by random, but that's different.
I think Sean Moss was on. Well, Sean Wesley was on it as well.
You had to have over 1,000 followers, I think, to get on.
Oh well,
yeah,
I have over 1,000. I have 1.5k.
Yeah, exactly. So you're
I have
fine.
like 6,000 followers or something, so I was like number
I
80
would've-
on the list.
I would have been on it, I'm sure, if I was over 1,000. But I'm creeping my way up there.
Oh,
You gotta bear in mind, my account did get showed. I was
Well,
showed.
Yeah, but you went hardcore with the anti-defamation, didn't you?
Well, I
The
didn't
ADL, yeah.
consider it. They considered it quite serious.
Wow.
I was just being.
Well,
I was
I
just
remember-
asking for. I was just asking for an apology for the Romanovs. That's literally all I did, and they decided
what?
that was for
Yeah,
the
you-
Romanovs.
Yeah.
Romanovs.
I said, you're going to apologize for murdering the Romanovs, and they did not
And
take
that means
kindly.
you're a Nazi, yes, because you
Yeah, I read.
like the
It's very
Romanovs.
funny. It's very funny. It was, but everyone was doing it. Grandpa Lampshade got banned.
Uh,
I
Yeah,
forgot
where's-
about Grandpa Lampshade.
Well, I'm on 907 now, so maybe it's not going to go. Maybe it's not going to fall back below. It's just like I check on my tweets map what happens with unfollows, and mostly all the time it's account deleted. It's
people get short all the time.
Yeah.
people
Why
need
my
to.
numbers sometimes
I
go
just followed
down.
you with 2 of my other accounts.
I've had
Nice.
people unfollow me for being a Christian, but there's some
Well,
14
people know
guys
right off
like,
the
you're
bat
a
that
cocky,
I'm a
you're
Christian.
anti-white.
If you can't figure that out.
Twitter is fun.
Yeah, where is
I guess
this?
we're on Twitter here. Yeah, I guess. So I don't
where's
want to
the
be.
shitlord list?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, where is this shitlord list? I want to check this.
Is that thing on change.org, or is that where it was, or?
I can't remember.
I don't know. I mean, nobody.
I got on it, and I didn't have anywhere near 1,000 followers.
Hmm.
At least I don't think I do.
Well, the only reason I have as many followers as I do is because when I first joined Twitter, I was just kind of a basic mainstream conservative, and there's this group called TGDN, which stands for Twitter Gulag Defense Network, and the idea was that if a bunch of conservatives follow each other, then that'll be sort of like you'll be in less danger of getting deleted because you have a lot of followers. So it's like that's where a lot of my followers came from originally, and I mean I've gained a lot on my own since then, but just from being a troll and stuff. But
you're pretty good troll.
Well, yeah, Ian, you're like the front lines. I mean, you actually go out and find these people and engage them. It's amazing.
It's kind of like an addiction. Like, when you see something really positive trending or some like slogan trending that you know is going to have a lot of idiots, you just can't resist. And like, it's just, I know it's kind of low hanging fruit in most cases, but I actually have a sock account that I was trolling with this week, a couple days ago. I'm a little bit meaner there, but
Oh, you have another account?
well, yeah, it's just kind of a backup account that I have that I converted into like a sock account. I mean, I hardly ever use it, but
You have to have a sock account. Everybody has a sock account.
but it's not related to my current avatar or handle or anything. It's just something completely different. But
Yeah,
I've got
that's one of the first lessons I learned from getting Showered. Have a sock account to do your trolling with.
yeah, you guys should.
King Cracker. I never use it. It's
Well, no, it should be Kang Cracker.
King Cracker. It's got and all the
Those
K's are
Kangs.
capitals. So there's 3 K. Cracker. Yeah. Anyway, it's silly. It's like this toothless yokel is my avatar. And I think like maybe like a cross burning is my banner.
Oh gosh.
But I've never. I only used it like once, and then I don't know. I couldn't take it seriously. I just enjoyed trolling. But I did get showed for my quite a few weeks back.
You mean you got suspended briefly?
I got suspended, and I didn't know why. And it took actually quite a few weeks before they finally sent me the offending tweet. And I thought, really, that one? Oh well.
What was it?
Somebody had said something like, "Oh, we'd won" or something. Somebody had said, some kind of like alt-lighter was like saying we won because Trump got elected. And I said, you got to be kidding. We got to chase these faggots over the cliff. We have to till their, knock over their gods and till their fields with salt. Like, this is not, like, this has just begun. And apparently that was enough to, I didn't address it at anybody specifically, but that's the one that was offended. Maybe
That's what a couple of guys that I know were talking about in another group I belong to was really trying to drive this home now that Trump has been elected, that your gods of liberalism are dead. Just ways to reinforce that.
Yeah, I tend to talk kind of that way and kind of hyperbole with people when I'm tweeting. If I am trolling, just speak it out there like that. But I mean, it's
You've got to go full Nazi on them, really, to really trigger them.
Well,
yeah.
You're Nazi either way.
I like try to play on their worst fears, like say we're going to round up all the gays into concentration camps.
Oh, hey, Rooster God, you're back. Good.
Yeah, my internet just went out.
Yeah, that happened to me. That's what happened to me earlier. Like, my internet blinked on me, and it. Actually, no. I think what happened was the plugin for the plugin for the Hangouts crashed on my laptop, so that was what happened, I guess. But
It's 8 o'clock, so my internet always goes out around 8 and then comes back.
so you're in Central Time?
Yeah,
Okay.
Chicago.
doxed.
Ooh.
Central dox.
I was going to say what Soviet gulag?
What?
Why did your internet have a curfew?
It doesn't. It goes out and then it comes back.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why. I think all my neighbors do something at 8 that fucks it up. I don't know.
But you're louder. You're louder now, so it's better.
It's echoes. It's the echoes.
Yeah.
We're doing something.
It's the new and
Actually,
improved.
I
version.
So apparently Wikipedia has an article about triple parentheses.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't know they had an article about this.
Well, yeah, what?
Of
I mean,
course.
they pretty much have an article on it. But
The use of triple parentheses or triple brackets, also known as an echo, is an anti-Semitic symbol that has been used to highlight the names of individuals of a Jewish background.
Classic Wikipedia.
So neutral.
did you guys see when Spencer wound up on the Wikipedia page for Twitter?
No, was this like some sort of hack?
Oh yeah, and one of the images they had in the article was like just a screenshot of like moments, and it was a picture of Spencer holding up that sign that said, "Hey, I want to talk to a racist."
Yeah.
You know, a tweet I made about Richard Spencer getting punched, I think, has set a new record for most retweets. I got almost 500.
No, the tweet I made with the screen cap of that article that said like it's not okay to like get hot and bothered over the hot neo-Nazi. That set my record. I forget what that was though.
You're talking about Richard Spencer, or?
Yeah, no, like apparently after he had that GQ or whatever, I don't even know if it was GQ, but
No, it wasn't GQ. No,
oh, that's right. No, shoot.
Atlantic.
No, it wasn't the Atlantic. It was another magazine, but he had some sort of feature or profile done of him too, and he has his suit on and he's looking
Fashy
or whatever.
Fashy
And
suave.
yeah, someone had
By the way.
taken. Someone had felt the need to like write an article saying how it's not okay to want to now have sex with Richard Spencer because he's he apparently they find him attractive secretly.
That woman reporter.
Oh
Yeah.
Or who was interviewing it was Myron Hard, as they say.
Did you see the collage they made of all the faces she was making during the interview?
Who is this?
This was the Vice reporter.
Oh,
Who interviewed? Here, let me just.
are you thinking of El Reeve or?
Yeah. Hold on, I'll send you. I'll put a link in the chat to it.
Oh yeah, the TRS
Yeah.
guys treated her very
She
poorly.
looked like an extra from Fievel Goes West. She's like she was very mousy, and it's just like, oh, I can't believe you think that way. Oh.
That episode of The Daily Show was pretty funny where they had her on. My favorite part was where she's like, why do you have to do all this anti-Jewish stuff? And someone sounds like, why do they have to do all this anti-white stuff? It was really funny.
Mm.
Now, speaking of Jews, I was watching.
Speaking of Jews,
I was listening to an interview with E. Michael Jones where he says that the way to think of Jews is anybody who's rejected Christ. So it's not necessarily the Jews as we think of them. That Jew is just a theological term referring to anybody who's rejected Jesus Christ. I thought that was an interesting way of looking at it.
well, they are rejectors, so
Yeah.
they're in that camp. You have to consider them in theological as well as HBD terms, which is why they really they need to be in the Levant. They can't be in Europe, because not only is it not good for us, but ultimately it's not really good for them either.
Well, you can't put them in the Holy Land. They don't belong there yet either.
Well, they're going to have to learn to wise up, because they can't stay here really. I mean, and by the way, like, that's not even really controversial, because that's exactly what Benjamin Netanyahu says. So if that makes me an anti-Semite, then that makes also Benjamin Netanyahu an anti-Semite. Just bear in mind that, GCHQ.
Well, Benjamin Netanyahu is an anti-Semite. There were leftist Jewish newspapers calling him an anti-Semite.
Oh man, very funny. I'm gonna have to go, guys, because it's getting late here.
Yeah.
I can tell you're sounding a bit tired, Mark. But thanks for joining us.
I need to recover from my illness.
Definitely. Rest up.
I'm overworked, man. But I look forward to the next time, and this has been a lot of fun. So
yeah, was good.
Have, guys. Yep. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night,
Thanks
sir.
for coming. So we're down to 5.
Like flies, they're dropping.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else who said they were coming? I know Sam said he couldn't come. I know Joshua said he couldn't come. So I didn't even add them to the invite because I figured they weren't going to make it anyway. So I don't know if anybody else is planning to come from the people I invited, but
I guess a lot of people hate Richard Spencer.
Yeah, and the text chat, a lot of people.
I don't know. I think he's fine.
I'm not a fan myself, but you know,
things.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a Spencerite as far as my philosophy goes, but I mean, I think he's a guy who stands up for white identity. So, in that sense, he's somebody worth at least sticking up for it when appropriate, which is what I actually did a lot on Twitter, just in response to the lefties going like, "Oh, I'm so glad Nazis like Richard Spencer got punched." I mean,
he's also not as bad as a lot of TRS stuff, which is I don't know. Some of it is pretty bad.
Well, what do you mean bad? You mean like bad as in too edgy for people, or just bad wrong?
Like too edgy in ways that are not even well argued, or the writing's really bad, or in tons of stuff. And it's different for different writers, but well, TRS isn't exactly known for its awesome prose.
Yeah, I think their niche is more like being sort of the humorous alt-right, the entertainment sector of the alt-right.
Well, no, that other stuff has happened, all the doxing and stuff. I don't know.
They're changing. They're going to be doing kind of like more of a mainstream. They're going to change the name. In the next couple of months, there's going to be something other than the Daily Show. They're going to be kind of doing actual daily show from the sounds of it. And it's going to be, I mean, I don't think it's going to be like cocked or anything, but I think it's probably appropriately, it's going to grow up a little bit. So that's what they said on the last show.
Well, yeah, they said like they might be doing more YouTube stuff since they've already had their faces put out there. They might as well just go visual then.
I think they want to do something that isn't.
I just think
it's so universally alienating. I mean, I think they probably got everybody who can be drawn into that. I think there's other ways of.
To begin with, they must have had pretty bad OPSEC to get doxed the way they did.
Well, that was a whole weird kerfuffle, starting at Red Ice and moving out to Pole, and then to, yeah. That was just a bunch of young guys who none of which knew how to back down, and then they got infiltrated also with Antifa. It was just a whole kerfuffle. I've never been able to kind of unwind the whole thing, but that's kind of how it went, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember in the episode that Mike Enoch did after, like the first one after the whole thing went down with the doxing, he said. He's like, well, I'm out of work. I don't remember what he said exactly, but he kind of implied that there was something in the works that, like a new opportunity had opened up for him, but he didn't specify what it was. So I guess it's still kind of top secret now or something. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what becomes of them.
Hopefully it'll include the guys from Fash the Nation too.
Yeah.
They were always fabulous, but they've just backed out. I think they say for some reason to protect other people, but I don't know.
You know, you look at TRS Radio, a lot of the podcasts are no longer listed in their directory because I think I don't know if those because they quit or if it's because they didn't want to get doxxed or.
Didn't Rebel Yell branch off now on its own?
Well, they're still on TRS Radio. I'm not sure if
because I think someone posted a website to a new link that they're now like Southern Identity. Well, it's Rebel Yell hosted at southernidentity.com or something.
Yeah, it might be. I know I've heard that the TRS Confederates, which is like the group behind Rebel Yell, they have their own sort of thing. They have their own kind of subgroup. So yeah, I don't really know about what all the details are, but that wouldn't surprise me.
They're still listed.
Yeah.
Well, they may still be listed. I mean, it may take a while.
Whereas Culture Comp actually left.
I know that Good Morning White America left, but they've been talking about doing their own website for a while before that. So I think that was just what they've been planning to do all along. So I don't think it had anything to do with Mike Enoch's wife or anything like that.
Did you guys see that tweet I posted in the chat, by the way?
The one with El Reeve, or
yeah, that woman.
Yeah, that was funny. Go retweet it, everybody.
She'd be better looking.
Somebody said she looks like she has fetal alcohol syndrome. I can't remember who said that, but somebody said that.
That's brutal. Oh man, that's just it's hilarious. But
I don't know. I mean, if she weren't a liberal, I could see her being kind of pretty. I don't know.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you know, someone could be drop dead gorgeous, but if she's going to actively try and undermine you, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Unless you're Mike Enoch, but
her eyes are too small.
Maybe she's stoned.
Maybe it's the glasses.
Probably is, to be honest.
It's from Vice, so it's possible.
Yeah.
I think they said that she was at the NPI conference or one of those events, and she kept trying to act flirty with the people she was talking to. I remember on the Daily Show they said that.
Maybe she's just Scandinavian and has small eyes.
I think she's actually Jewish.
I don't think she is, actually. I think I've heard she's not
Jewish.
I think I said her boyfriend is Jewish, possibly, but I'm not sure. I don't really care about her personal life that much. But I thought I heard somebody say that somewhere.
It's okay. I'm going to retweet this.
I liked your tweet too, LUE-YEE, about free Sunni.
Oh. Yeah. People didn't appreciate my jokes.
Yeah.
I thought it was humorous.
Every time I see free Shia, I read that as free Shia. So I'm like,
oh, that's what that free Shia is about? I was thinking it was free Shia too, and I'm like,
no, it's
something going on in Iran.
Got arrested for strangling some guy, I think.
That guy is just weird.
Well, he hasn't been anything like worthwhile in like a decade.
Did he do anything interesting? I mean, he did Transformers and the amazing
and
Indiana Jones movie. What else?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he did Do It. Just do it.
I don't even know what that's from.
He was also in that Holes movie from gosh, probably like
that one. Oh yeah, I suppose
a long
so.
time ago now.
Somebody open a door. Who was that? Is that William?
No, but I do have to go let my dog out.
Oh. Well, okay, so you'll be right back. All right. You know, it's funny. The last hangout we did, there was like I missed about 5 minutes of it because I had to get up to use the bathroom near the end of it. And I remember there was a conversation that I missed, and it was very interesting because we were talking about people that, well, whoever was here, I can't remember who all was here at that time, but people were talking about people they'd like to have on, and somebody mentioned Bulbasaur from TRS, which is funny because I was actually thinking about trying to ask him to come on, but after, I guess, the whole doxing thing happened, I guess he's kind of gone dark or whatever. So I don't know.
Didn't he want to sort of, and this is something I heard maybe kind of secondhand, but wasn't he looking to start some sort of new denomination, or essentially, or trying to about?
I don't know about a new denomination, but I do remember him saying that he wanted to start a home church of some sort. But then he later said that he didn't think that he was the right guy to lead a movement like that. So I guess he's leaving it to other people to possibly do that, but he's not going to be the guy behind it.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting. I mean, he might enjoy hanging out with guys like us. I don't know exactly where he is as far as his faith goes, because there's some things he says. What?
Who's that?
We're talking about Bulbasaur from TRS.
Oh, I hope he comes back. He's
good.
Yeah,
I enjoy his tweets.
We were talking about how in the last Hangout there was a discussion about people they wish would join these Hangouts, and some people were talking about Bulbasaur, and I think you were there, William. But I was just saying that I had missed that part of the conversation because I was away from the computer. So when I was listening to the Hangout earlier this week, I was like, oh wow, I wish I'd been on this. I would have had something to say about it.
Oh yeah. I think I suggested it.
Yeah. Well, I was saying just a minute ago, I guess you missed it, but I had actually had him on my list of people that I was hoping to invite at some point, but I guess that didn't. I don't know if that's going to happen now.
It's gone dark.
Yep. I hope.
Who else was there anyone else who was Orthodox who was brought up?
I don't recall. I'd have to go back and listen.
I think you mentioned Nathan Duffy at one point.
Oh, it's funny. I actually tried to get Nathan Duffy on the very first one. I asked him if he wanted to join. He said sure, and I sent him the link on Twitter, but he never showed up. So I don't know what his thing is, but yeah.
I could ask him sometime.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to have him on. He's good. Trying to think, is there anybody else I've ever tried to invite? I remember Henry, or I guess he's back to being Giovanni now. He said that we should try to get E. Michael Jones on here. I'm like, that'd be kind of a interesting thing if we could pull that off.
That would be get the guys from Ascending to the Tower.
Well, we've had Nick B. Steves on. We've had Ryan Landry on. I guess he's occasionally a guest on Ascending the Tower. I've never had Anthony or Antony on. I guess I just never thought. There are people I've thought about, but I didn't know if they were big enough that I didn't know if I felt I knew them well enough to really ask them, but who knows? I mean, maybe they would if I asked them. We just have to see.
Have you ever reached out to Rick, who does the Rome is Burning podcast?
Oh yeah, he's been on a couple of times
before.
He's been on like twice, I think.
Yeah.
One he was only on briefly because it was kind of a crowded one. I remember, so he didn't really get to say much. But I know that the one was the topic was the race issue. We had Rick on for that one. I think it was me, LUE-YEE, Sam, and Rick for most of that one. And then I think William joined us later. And then I think Nick B. Steves joined at the very end also. That was a pretty good one, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember these having topics early on.
Yeah, I just felt like since a lot of times the topics I thought of weren't very good, and so we ended up getting off topic. So I was like, well, if we don't have a topic if we're just going to get off topic, we might as well not have one. So that's why they've been kind of open-ended lately. I mean, if you have a topic you'd like to suggest, I mean, that might be worth devoting an entire show to, I mean, feel free.
I'll think about that.
Your problem is that these things go on so damn long.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're meant to be hangouts, so part of it's that it's meant to be sort of like a social thing where we all are just kind of getting together and talking about stuff. It's not necessarily supposed to be all about, like, I guess it's sort of not like a podcast in that sense, in that it's more like a get together that's almost for everyone that's in public.
No, I think Adam Wallace uses the same thing you do, where he does the YouTube Live with the Google Hangouts for his podcasts. But he runs a pretty tight ship, though, in terms of like time, topic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I never really saw this as really a podcast. I mean, you release it, but
Yeah. Yeah, I've thought about trying to do like an actual podcast before, but I feel like I'm not that good of a host, honestly. So I don't know if I'm strong enough to carry something like that. Like, I feel like it would be better if I was just hosting it and everybody else did the talking. One idea I had actually was to do like a music-related podcast. Like, that was just an idea I thought of. And I know that William on his channel has been doing, he did the thing with Beowulf with Bill Marchant recently, and how he's doing these one-on-one discussions. I thought that was interesting. I was thinking, what if we had like maybe like a smaller group where we just had a topic to discuss about like music. I don't know. I just thought of music because that's something I like. It'd be fun to do like one idea I had in my mind was like we could review an album and just like talk about what it represents or what its themes are, or things like that. And like maybe a small group of people discussing that could be interesting, or we'd talk about all the different tracks. I don't know, just something I thought of. But
of a piece of music or a band or?
I'm sorry, what?
Of what kind of a piece of music or?
Well, like I was thinking, like just pick an album of, or like could be like a rock album or something, or.
Oh yeah.
Like
well, that's the kind of you can come on my podcast. That's the kind of thing we do on my podcast, Ian.
Yeah, well, like I mean, if you
want to chat about like Yes's first album or something.
Well, I'm not very familiar with Yes's. I don't. That's the thing. Like, it would have to be an album we could all listen to, like we'd all have access to in some way, so we could.
I'd love to do it.
Hang about. I mean, I could send you a list of all the albums in my collection. We could, if you think one would be worth discussing.
Have you ever? Sorry, go ahead, William.
No. Carry on.
I was going to say, Ian, you were listening to that jazz album, I think, earlier in the week.
Yeah. That was at my grandmother's house. Yeah, it was funny. I visited my grandmother last week, and just I was like, hey, we used to listen to records here all the time when we were kids, and now, like, when was the last time we actually listened to a record? And since the first time as an adult, we've actually pulled out the record player, and I actually got to look through the different records on her shelf, and there's a lot of stuff in there that I never even knew she had, and I'm not sure if she even knew she had it, because it was just like, it's just stuff that just collected dust there, I guess. But
like left over from her kids, or like your parents and uncles and stuff.
No, some stuff like Lawrence Welk, or
oh, sweet.
It's fun music, or like John Denver. I guess some of those are my mother's old albums that were still there, like the Monkees, or
yeah.
I mean, stuff like that.
Well, how old are your parents? 60s?
Yeah, they're baby boomers. So.
Yeah. So like, I mean,
I'm a Monkees fan, but yeah, about. Yeah, it's funny. Some of my, some of the records still have like those plastic labels that have people's names on them. I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about.
I don't actually. What are you talking
Have you ever
about?
seen those like label makers where it's like you have
like and it sort of embosses the letter?
Yes, yeah, those things.
Nice.
Oh wow.
I remember when I was younger. Yeah, it's like you emboss the letters onto these like tape kind of things, and then you can peel off the back and stick them to something as a label.
Yeah, I wonder where those are. I wonder if those are still around somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're pretty cool. So, I mean, I don't know why they're useful.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure the hipsters have brought them back.
Even when I was a kid, we still occasionally used those things. So, like, my mother would buy the tape for them, and we had the little gun thing to put the letters on. So,
yeah.
Do you know what we're talking about, you younger folks? Like, I don't know, LUE-YEE, do you know what we're talking about? I don't know how old you are.
It's 20 something.
Yeah, I finally am at an age where I can't say I'm in my mid-20s.
I can still say I'm in my mid-30s for the time being.
I'm in my early 50s.
Not as old as my father, but still.
One day I'll be older than my father, or I'll catch up.
Is
to
your
him.
father or grandfather yet?
Yeah, not for me though.
Is your father or grandfather yet, the LUE-YEE?
Oh, me? No, I'm the oldest, and
Oh, you're the
my
oldest.
brother's definitely not married.
I must have had. Oh, your father
You might
must
be though.
But the ideal age of marriage for a Chinese man is 30, so I still have 2 years or something.
What about a Chinese woman?
20.
Okay.
12.
Okay, come on, we're not Pakis, we're Chinamen.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
And if you're a Muslim, what's the right age for a goat? Or I don't know.
Oh, no. Oh,
Okay, we'll stop.
No, man.
You guys
Does a
are
goat
such
even live?
shitlords and so hateful, and you're Nazis, literally. And I'm gonna come in and punch you all.
We were all
I've come
literally
up with a
Hitler.
new term, effectively Hitler.
Effectively Hitler.
Effectively, Hitler.
I'm
That's a good-
effectively Hitler.
Well, I identify as literally Hitler, so you have to use the right pronouns.
Hitler
Oh,
Ken.
Mein
Hitler
Führer. Would that be a good
Uh,
title for this episode? Hitlerkin? No, I don't.
Hitler can.
Actually, no, I don't want to go too much on the Hitler stuff just because some people might not be in on the joke. And yeah,
Yeah.
like
No,
how
they
there's a
made-
bug on the floor here.
Look, they make new ones. I just saw one. You can get it well.
There's like an earwig on the floor here. Hold on a second.
organizer. What's going on?
Did he kill the bug? I think Ian was trying to kill a bug or something.
Kill a bug.
Yeah, he said there was an earwig or something. on
Yeah,
his floor.
there's a bug on the floor. I was just taking care of it.
Oh.
It's just
You mean you're not a Jain this whole time? I thought you practiced ahimsa and everything.
nope. Sorry to disappoint you.
I bet you're not even from India.
Wow. I guess the secret's out. Yeah, I've never even been to India.
Wow. I
What
have
kind of hippie
watched
are you?
you.
If I were you, I would not use the bathroom the entire time I was there.
I don't know what you are talking about.
Well, if they see you using a bathroom, they'll get you. They'll figure out.
He's
Being
not one of us.
That's a great meme. The one where the Indian man's holding the phone and he says "poo" in it. You ever seen that one?
No.
I'll have to find it. Oh.
Yeah, I see the thing you posted there, William, with the embossed label makers. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It was one of those deals.
Yeah. They don't seem to. They all just seem to be kind of new. I don't see. Oh, there are some retro ones on the page. Maybe you got to type in
those
retro.
things. Oh, yeah.
Now LUE-YEE's on board.
I'm gonna see this. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've seen those.
Hey, but William, I'm sorry to use up this Hangout to discuss, I guess, private or personal stuff, but like as
Where
far
are
as
you going with this?
No, I meant like just like no, I meant like you talked about doing the teleologic podcast. I mean, how do you record those? Do you record them through Skype or how do you do them exactly?
I use the Hangout, just a non-live Hangout,
Like this.
And you can actually record them that way?
and then I download the. I go to whatever it is, fast free YouTube downloader. Download it. Then I convert the thing to the MP4 to a sound file, and then I edit it. I actually edited that last one quite a bit. I took out like probably 150 and like and double words and just made it smoother.
That's good.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think, Sorry.
And then I try to balance the sound. Like if one voice is quieter than the other, I actually go through and pan the quieter voice up. And oddly enough, it's mine every time. I'm not sure why. I think I just need to speak into the microphone more.
Yeah,
I know,
sounded good.
I know that Rick from Rome is Burning, he does the live hangouts. Then he has them unlisted, and then he downloads the audio file and uses Audacity to edit them.
But wait, if it wasn't actually streamed to YouTube.
Well, it's streamed, but it's unlisted. Like only people who have the link can view it.
Oh, okay. Is that how you do it too, William? Or
I just set it to private. It's the first time I've done it. I tried. Bill and I actually did a whole interview about before Christmas where we both just tried to record ourselves on either side of the microphone. I mean, on our own side, and mine didn't save, so we had to do the whole. But then his was super clippy too. So actually, the Hangout platform. But it seems like some people, like I was on Descending the Tower a few weeks back, and he seemed to actually have like ability to adjust levels. Now that's more technology than I have. I don't have a mixing board like that. I don't know. Maybe he was just playing with the levels and just wanted to make sure they were okay, and he could just tell. And maybe he was going to tell people to speak up, but he said everything was fine. So I don't know. But he does quite a bit of post editing, I think, in terms of sound.
Yeah,
and he sort of does a huge amount of. I don't do anywhere near as much show notes. Like that's just wow.
Yeah.
I got like 45 links. I got like 4 or 5 at the most.
Yeah, I had a lot of show notes just because I feel like it's a good thing to do, but just as a reference
you found
for
the
people.
Sound quality was good. Sorry to be. It's so boring for whoever's.
Sorry, talking shop on the air,
but the sound quality was pretty good.
Yeah, it sounded okay to me. I mean, I didn't have any problems with it. So,
okay.
I mean, I was more interested in the content, I guess, than the sound quality, but it didn't bother me. So
you weren't distracted by anything.
Not that I can recall.
Egregious. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could send you a list of all the albums I own, and you could see if there's any one you'd want to discuss or one you'd actually.
Sure. That'd be fun.
Well, maybe not all the albums I own. Some of them probably aren't worth it, but yeah.
Yeah, something you think that's appropriate.
Yeah, I'd have to go look and see if there's anything I could comment on, like that would be worth commenting on. But I mean, I'd want it to be more like a discussion than just me talking, because I don't know if my insights are interesting enough on their own. Lightning Patriot's asking to join. Do you guys want him in here?
I don't know who that is, but sure.
Yeah, he's a young. He's a young high school Chad.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, I'll see if I can add him. But anyway,
Chadnat youth.
Yep. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay.
Who remains? Arbogast, is this your first time? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I did this. You see, I used to run, well, I mean, my Twitter account before the first name was Zamil, and then I changed it recently to Arbogast. I kind of tried to rebrand it a bit, but I also wanted to kind of separate things a bit more. This is after the whole wave of doxing. Of course, I just said it on here, but I don't think anyone is, I'm not really too concerned. But I've been on, this is my third time actually. I was on pretty early once, and that was one of those, I think it was like one of the first ones Ian did without a topic. And
yeah, I think I was there for the
you were there too.
Yeah, you were Zamil. I remember that name.
Yeah. And then I did last week, and as long as he keeps doing these on a like a Tuesday, Thursday type deal, I can make it. So I'll probably be on for a little bit. So,
how's our Chad doing, Lightning Patriot?
What?
You're the Chad of the group, aren't you?
Chad of what group?
Oh, the Chad.
The Chad.
You're a total Chad.
Chadism.
Little Chad.
What's the flag you have? Sort of.
Oh, it's the
overlaid?
Vinland flag. It's
Oh,
the
is it?
only thing I could find within my region that has like the closest thing to an identity besides burgers.
Besides, what is this? Finland, you said?
Vinland. It's like
Vinland.
It's like the closest thing. As far as I know, it's used by a lot of like white nationalist groups. So it's basically, it's kind of like the North in Canada.
Yeah. Wasn't there the Wolves of Vinland, or is that a separate Vinland?
Yeah, it's used by a bunch of different groups.
That's a Finland. That's like a Finnish street game.
It came after, and this is why my profile pic is Leif Erikson, who is, as far as records can tell, was the first Christian on North America.
I thought it was Leif Erikson.
Yeah, Leif Erikson.
It sounded like you said Leif Erikson.
Tomato, tomato.
Okay.
Yeah.
That reminds me of another thing I like to do on Twitter. When somebody uses the wrong word, I'll quote tweet them and speak a sentence that uses the word they meant to use in their proper context. Or like somebody was saying, like, you murmured all the Native Americans, and I said, a murder went through the crowd. That's just my response.
Grammar Nazi Ian.
Yeah, basically.
Well, you think about
I
that.
will admit to being a grammar Nazi, yes.
How would you murmur an entire people?
No, you can definitely murmur an entire people. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, you need to assemble the people, and then you murmur, and they're just hypnotized by your
A
spell,
mass murmur?
because you have the voice of Saruman, and they're just going to be bewitched by your murmuring, and soon what you say just rustles through the branches of the people, and they go and they become your army of Ents. And this is definitely not orthodox Tolkien stuff. Because,
Do you mean the mass media?
yeah, exactly. Except, you don't have to be a Jew to do this. Some other people have these skills, such as Saruman.
You said Sargon?
Saruman,
Saruman.
the White Wizard.
Yes, the White Wizard.
What? Wizard?
What?
Sargon.
Saruman, the White Wizard.
Sargon's that one guy. Well, I mean,
He's a real degenerate.
yeah, he is. But then there's also the Mesopotamian emperor.
Oh yeah, Sargon.
Is that who he's named after?
Yeah, which he, kind of. I mean, if I was Sargon, and if I was in any sort of state in the afterlife to wreak vengeance upon someone alive, he would be the one I would
Oh yeah.
on.
Oh yeah.
Saruman was a race traitor. He tried to help the orcs take over, beat humanity.
Well, he created the orcs.
He wasn't human in the first place. He was a Maya.
That's too nerdy for me.
Just like Gandalf. They're not humans. They just look like humans.
They look quite to me.
This is true. They are in the guise of white men. I mean, they're not coming as Chinamen for sure. Although, these wizards, if they were Chinamen, I think they'd look cool too. But they're not Chinamen. They're pretty white.
Yeah.
You need to start a hashtag now. Lord of the Rings so white.
I remember
Gandalf is white and red-pilled.
Although he's played by an actual degenerate, though.
Oh yeah, well, we're talking about Gandalf, not Ian McKellen.
Yeah, I know.
We should
I never
put
got
together
into
a
Lord of the
bid
Rings.
for the wall.
What?
They're taking bids for the wall. We should put together a bid.
Oh yeah.
You mean like a contractor's bid?
Yeah. Yeah, just
We should be
quantities
like
contracted out.
Your name carved into the wall.
this is going to be totally Rabelaisian, so it's going to be like in Pantagruel. We build the walls of Paris with the bodies of women. So you go and slay some women, and you take their bodies and you use them to build the Mexican wall.
Use the Mexicans.
This is getting dark.
The mestizos. Use the mestizos in the Indios.
Whoa! Somebody get a text.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad. I mean, I'm just inappropriate everywhere I go, so.
Oh, I have my.
As you can see from my free Sunni joke.
Yeah, no. Okay, I mean, I forgive all with the base Chinamen, so it's all good.
Well, I too am a forgiving God.
You know, about that free Sunni joke, I mean, I could see somebody actually using Sunny as their name and spelling with an I at the end. And then, like a girl doing that, and then maybe she could date Shia LaBeouf, and then they could be Shia and Sunny. I mean, it would be perfect.
That would be.
I mean, it'd be such a bad romance. They'd be killing each other, and they'd go rah rah so.
Well, oh, man. That's an old joke.
Lady Gaga references now.
Yeah.
This is peak degeneracy right here.
You don't know how many times I've shocked people at karaoke by putting in bad romance and singing that, and people are like, LUE-YEE, we did not expect that. I said, yeah, that's why I put it in.
I want to go sing karaoke with LUE-YEE. When do I get to do that? Oh, I love singing karaoke.
Karaoke is great.
I don't do it often, but I do enjoy it.
Although I don't like paying for it. I mean, it's just, but
You're Chinese.
Once in a while, I'm Asian and stuff. But
Jew of the Orient.
I don't like paying for stuff if I can help it either. That's why when I was in Korea, I didn't do the karaoke thing as much as I would have liked to, just because it's semi-expensive.
Yeah.
So I've actually learned some Korean songs since I came back from Korea. So then now I need to go back to Korea so I can sing them.
And not Gangnam Style, right?
No, I do not. I can honestly say I do not know all the words to Gangnam Style. I'm talking about like real Korean music like that.
There's only like 5, and they're all in English.
You mean 5 what? 5 words, you mean? Oppa Gangnam Style. Yeah.
It says Oppa Gangnam Style. And like,
you know, I was actually in Korea when that came out, so I held the distinction of having seen that before most Americans did. I'm not joking. I was surprised when it reached like 1 billion views on YouTube, and I'm like, and I was there before it all, went worldwide. So.
Oh, do you know how to sing the theme song from My Sassy Girl?
No. My Sassy Girl.
Yeah.
Is that a Korean drama?
Yeah, it's a Korean movie from 2001.
I didn't see that one. It sounds familiar though. Probably heard of it.
Rom-com. It's some Americans made a white version, and I knew a Chinese girl or Chinese American girl in our fellowship when I was an undergrad who was like, "Oh, it's My Sassy Girl white version. Let's get that." We were at Blockbuster. I was like, "No, you're so un-Chinese."
Well, just out of curiosity, how do Chinese people view other Asians like Koreans or Japanese, or like, do you see them as brethren in a way, or are they just different?
I fucking hate
kind of. We see the Koreans as male chauvinists. We see the Japs as people who, chimp out and torture people. It's as people that we, sometimes intermarry with. The Philippines are a servant nation, standard stuff.
Who did you say are sometimes okay?
Oh, I mean, we sometimes, the Cantonese sometimes
the Cantonese
marry with the Vietnamese. Shanghainese would probably not like doing that. I mean, they don't even like breeding with the Cantonese unless they've moved to Hong Kong.
What about the Taiwanese?
The Taiwanese are strange people. I mean, it's like an interracial marriage, almost. I mean, they have, they have Formosan Abo blood, and they have all this Japanese influence and stuff, and they speak, strange language. Also, I probably will not marry a Hakka. It's just probably off limits, because the thing is, you have to be careful with the Hakka if you're Cantonese, because we may have a blood feud with their family, so we can't marry.
What's a Hakka?
Hakkas were these latecomers to southern China from northern China, so they took generally the poorer land in these parts of southern China, but nobody else, I mean, nobody who's not Hakka likes the Hakka.
You're breathing very loudly, Lightning Patriot. Like you keep, Avatar keeps popping up. So
basically, because they were these latecomers who took the poor land, in the 19th century, we had these clan wars with them. Sometimes we even took these clan wars with them to other countries. So even in British Malaya, the only reason that there were no clan wars of this type in America was that Hakka people didn't go to America.
And you had the clan.
So what?
And you had the clan.
Oh yeah.
What about the Mongolians?
Mongols are funny. They're
Mongos.
So, okay, so you know how the Chinese people are very, high context and subtle and stuff. Mongols are so different. They say everything straight up explicitly, and they're just really funny, and I don't know, they seem unsophisticated to a southern Chinaman. It's like, what are you people? You just say everything. You just wear your heart on your sleeve. You just wrestle with your guys every time you say hi to them. Oh, you're strange people, but you're hilarious.
Does it sound like it would be fun from that perspective? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean maybe I kind of, well, it's different, but you know how black people are funny just by being black.
I kind of know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Only on Twitter.
Where you can say stuff like, we was kangs to them.
Yeah. No, I mean,
my
my real life black friends are pretty funny.
They're just annoying in real life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like Jared Taylor. I get along fine with people of other races, but I generally prefer the company of white people.
White people.
Yeah. But
the thing about, well, so I kind of prefer the company of Chinese people, because there's just stuff that only Chinese people understand. On the other hand, sometimes I get really sick of Chinese people, so maybe they're just Chinese people of the wrong type, like they're from the wrong class, or they're from the wrong region, or they're women or something.
Or from Taiwan.
You come hang out with us crackers.
So yeah, I mean, sometimes I get tired of Chinese people and hang out with the
crackers,
Korean,
the Christ cut crackers,
Korean crackers, Japs, Bits,
I think, well, I mean, all my in real life friends are white, but sorry, I didn't mean to interject.
It's fine. What were you saying?
I was just thinking about, my few IRL friends. I mean, being kind of in the academic environment still, really can't avoid who you see on a day-to-day basis so much. But the only people I've actually formed lasting relationships have all been white, now that I think about it.
I have a long-standing Korean friend from high school for like 30 years. So, I mean, we don't spend that much time together, but other than that, yeah, pretty much everybody who's a long-term friend of mine is white.
I'm not as lucky.
Except for LUE-YEE.
I'm white. I'm 3% Tacarian.
That's right, that 3%. Otherwise, you would not be allowed here.
I don't even know if I'm Tacarian, but I'm still gonna meme this thing.
I don't have very many long-standing friends.
I made the classic faux pas the other day. I went to my corner store and mentioned something about Chinese New Year. But I mean,
did someone say
don't use the similar calendar? But anyway, she says, "I'm not Chinese, I'm Korean." I said, "Oh," she was super cool about it. But
I mean, it's still Chinese New Year. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know she uses the same. But then she said that
where you get your calendar from is which culture is superior. That's just true.
Yeah. So they've given up, and I thought that's kind of weird. Like she said, her kids, her generation would kind of use either. I mean, I got this through some very, very kind of broken English. She's a fairly recent immigrant, I think. And then, but her kids basically just use the, Gregorian, the Western calendar. And I thought, wow, I would feel totally occupied by another culture if I was. I mean, let's say we use the Chinese calendar. Essentially, that would mean I was occupied by the Chinese.
But
or
the thing is,
name any calendar other than
for an East Asian who's Christian, you're basically actually handling 3 calendars, because you have just the normal solar calendar, and then you have the Christian calendar, which is, I mean, there's the Roman aligned part, and then there's all the Easter stuff that's determined by the 14th of Nisan, which is the Hebrew calendar, and then you have the Chinese calendar. So you're dealing with 3 calendars at once.
I pretty much deal with, well, I mean, if you count the whole calendar for calculating Pascha or Easter, then yeah, I deal with 3 calendars too, because I'm one of the Orthodox who use the old calendar, the Julian calendar, to date the fixed feast days. So I have to wrestle 2 Christmases, which is actually, it's not that hard, because honestly, like, once you kind of get into it, really Western Christmas ceases to be Christmas if you're fasting and you're looking forward to the 7th of January. But yeah, it's interesting.
You actually have 4 calendars, because you have Gregorian and Julian, and then you have...
Well, yeah, there's the Jewish one for calculating Easter.
Paschas that are tied to both. I mean, you only observe one, but you're in a Western country.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously you have to deal with, family.
Yeah. 4 calendars. My goodness.
Well, it's not that hard. I mean, you kind of just ignore one, or ignore really a couple.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's some calendars you can neglect most of the time until it comes up.
In China, do they actually use the same calendar in terms of years, like AD? Like, is this 2017 to them? Or
we do, but we also use other years. I mean, in the past, this was, the whatever year of this era. So during the Qing dynasty, it was, the 3rd year of Kangxi, or the 10th year of Yongzheng. And then with the Republic, it was like year 1 of the Republic, year 2 of the Republic. So now is what, year 106 of the Republic. Or not yet, actually.
What are you doing, Lightning Patriot?
I'm trying to signal that, like, the French did a similar thing after the Revolution, where it's like after the Republic, it's like one after we overthrew the monarchy.
Well, it's. I mean, I mean, you number the years by your monarchs, right? But if you don't have an emperor, then the Republic itself is the emperor.
Right.
Totally degenerate.
I do a lot better than you do.
Sometimes this causes confusion about people's ages, because when you ask old people what year they were born, they give some year, and it's sometimes ambiguous, and they don't tell you, and you don't bother asking sometimes whether if they say 43 or something, does that mean that they were born in 1943, or does that mean they were born in year 43 of the Republic?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because I guess there's not much difference if it's 106. If it's year 106 of the Republic now, then that's only an 11-year difference.
Yeah.
So if they look if their age could be give or take 11 years, then
Right.
Yeah. Well. I mean,
Especially East Asians. I mean, my age ranges from 18 to 35.
Yep. I know John Derbyshire in his recent podcast was talking about an Asian woman. He said it's like she's 60 years old, so because she's Asian, she naturally looks 25, or something like that.
My grandmother, when I was young, she said she was in her 40s, and then eventually she said 50s when she was probably in her 70s, and then she just stopped saying what her age was, and then now if people ask, yeah, she won't tell her age, and then if she's pressed, she'll be like, oh, I'm in my 90s, which is patently false.
But does it eventually catch up with them? Because I mean, like in Korea, there are definitely old ladies there who are old ladies.
Yeah, but my grandmother, I don't know, you couldn't tell what age she really was. She could be anything from 60s to...
Might it differ depending on whether they grew up in like a rural region or an urban region?
That might depend too. I mean, she's lived in Hong Kong and then America.
Yeah, because I mean, if you've worked out in the sun for much of your life, it's probably going to age you more.
Right.
That's like in Korea. I mean, a lot of them, like they were a pretty rural country until like 50 years ago, maybe. So I mean, I don't know.
Get into shape so that when I'm 50, I can look, 35 or something. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, my father's, around retirement age, and he still looks. He could pass for 40.
Well, I'm actually a lot younger than I look. Sometimes people think I'm a teenager. Not joking.
You did sound like a teenager when you had your mic a bit different.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean you look a lot younger than you are?
The mic of youth.
You said you're a lot younger than you look. I'm just grammar not saying you, Ian.
What did I say wrong?
You said I'm younger than I look.
Oh, did I say that? Sorry.
You said the inversion. Yes.
You look younger than you are.
That's what I meant. If I said the wrong thing, that's what I meant to say.
Well, yeah, because I was actually imagining you. You said you're in your mid-30s. Like when you said that, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Does that mean he looks like he's in his 50s? Like that's not good.
No. Yeah. Sometimes I get mistaken for a teenager occasionally if I dress the right way. Or
I never get mistaken for a high schooler, though. I just don't dress that way.
Just don't carry your skateboard around with you, Ian.
Yeah, wear a backwards hat and.
You gotta.
But sometimes you can pay youth rates by carrying around a skateboard. They'll just not even ask and assume that you're a teenager and stuff.
Yeah.
Douche on wheels.
I remember
youth.
There's going to come time when we do not want to be seen paying senior citizen rates, and have to find ways around that.
I got 4 years and I can get senior rates at some places.
Yeah.
I was out in a warehouse store once with my mom, and then a guy stopped me. Like I was in my 10s, and then he asked me, "Are you her boyfriend?"
10s.
Okay, but
you're only a teenager now.
So many people.
Yeah.
So I have been the husband of my grandmother, my aunt, and my mother.
That's impressive. That's very impressive.
That's degenerate. Yeah.
I know. I'm so degenerate.
Wait, Rooster, did you ask if he's Mormon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a distinct possibility there.
Well, yeah, the Mormons are. They do. I think I looked on ethnic map. They are English. Like the majority of them are descended from English, from the Eternal Anglo.
Anglo. The Eternal Anglo is, yeah, I have a complicated relationship with the Eternal Anglo. I mean, I'm an Anglican, and I'm very thankful that they helped bring the gospel to China. On the other hand, they're backstabbing bastards.
Of course.
They're just like Jews with another name.
A Jew by any other name would...
Is an Anglo?
Anglo. What's in the name?
Yes. Yes. You fought for us in conquering the French, but now we're gonna put all these taxes on you.
Oh, they actually had pretty low taxes in Hong Kong, but the thing
No,
was
I'm talking about
they never
America.
gave us anything without our having fought for that thing. But that's just as well. It leads to liberation rather than a sense of gives me that and getting a sop from the Eternal Anglo.
Is there an Eternal Chinaman?
There is an Eternal Chinaman. I mean, don't you know?
Pretty much, yeah.
I am the Eternal Chinaman. My memory goes back millennia.
I wanted to bring this up when you're talking about calendars, but what are you doing for Spring Festival?
For spring what?
Or Chinese New Year?
Oh, Chinese New Year. Probably nothing. I mean, calling home, but I do that anyway.
Whoa.
A lot of my friends call it Spring Festival in English.
I might try to find something, but yeah, I don't have plans yet, so we'll have to see.
Was it the new moon after the... No, it's not the first new moon after
Well, it's the day of the new moon.
Yeah, the day of the new moon after what, though?
What?
It's on the 28th, so it can't be the first one. Is it the second one after the...
So the 8th month...
After the solstice?
Has to be... No, so the 8th month of the Chinese calendar is always the full moon after the autumn equinox.
Okay.
So...
Oh...
Then you kind of calculate back. Although some years you have 13 months, so you have to watch out for that.
Yeah, these lunar calendars are chaos. Yeah, you end up having to throw in. The Hebrews did the same thing.
The emperor orders that you have an intercalary month, so it may be an intercalary first month or intercalary second month. That determines, all the rest of the stuff. So. Like when the festivals are. But yeah, it's supposed to be the first day of spring by Chinese reckoning. So, well, it's I think we count seasons differently. So Westerners have this strange convention whereby the solstice, the winter solstice, is the first day of winter, and I go, that doesn't make sense. It should be like midwinter, right?
Well, they do call it midwinter solstice.
Right, I mean, you sing in the bleak midwinter and stuff. So, but in modern calendars, they tell you first day of spring, first day of winter, and I go, that's not the first day, dear.
Those are just ignorant. Those are ignorant people who've lost track of the tradition.
Bring back the traditional almanac.
Summer solstice.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to the old calendars.
I was going to say, should we start wrapping up soon? Because I mean, we've been going almost 3 hours. I don't want to be on too long.
When we start talking calendars, it's too boring. We have to pull the plug.
Well, it's not that. It's just that I'm going for 3 hours. I don't want to wear myself out too much.
Oh, that's right. I came late tonight, so
yeah. Yeah. Maybe we can talk for a few minutes off the air if you guys want, or you guys can keep talking if you want, but I just want to wrap up just because I think we're losing viewers. We were up to we had 24 viewers at one point. Now we're down to 10.
Wow.
And Patriot, your breathing is very distinctive, Lightning Patriot.
Thank you.
Well,
dedicated listeners.
There are 10 of you left. We salute you.
Yeah, I think 24 is what it was up to at one point. I think that's the most we've ever had at one time. Though some of them might have been the people who were in the.
I actually have to go off for a prayer meeting. So,
Yeah, well, thanks for coming, LUE-YEE. You've been good as always.
See ya.
See ya.
Good to talk to you, brother LUE-YEE.
LUE-YEE TSANG.
the eternal Chinglican.
Yeah. So should I just give the little wrap up
Yeah, you
thing
can.
here? All right. Let's just thank everybody. So thanks, Arbogast. I think that's what I'll call you, Arbogast, because that's like the uniting theme of all your various aliases.
Yeah, just whatever.
Thanks, Lightning Patriot. Thanks, LUE-YEE. Thanks, ROOSTERGOD. You finally made it in after all those times in the text chat. Thanks, William, Scott, and let's see who else was here. Thanks to Mark CITADEL. Thanks to Northern Irish All-Star. And thanks to DJ LANECO for joining us. It was good talking to all you guys. Thanks to everybody out there who's listening. Thanks for sticking with us. Hope we were interesting and we were entertaining. And have a good night, everyone.
Night.
It was great being here. See ya.
Right.
I had to leave there at the end. I had suspicion. I had suspicion.
Okay.
Because, like, I have, like, parents, and it's like...
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to sign off now, okay?
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to stop the broadcast, okay? Good
See
night,
ya.
everybody.
Adios.